All right, folks, this week we had the pleasure of sitting down and chatting with Mia Lambson. I think you guys are going to love this chat. She's a filmmaker. She worked over at Snowboarder Mag, documented a lot of incredible snowboarding over the years, and she's currently working on Wayward, a documentary about the history of women's snowboarding, both past and present. It sounds like a great project. She was talking about how she got a chance to interview Victoria Jalouse. Really excited for Wayward. She also talked about how she worked on some more mainstream projects like Real Housewives of SLC, did some stuff with the NFL. It's a really interesting chat from the filmmaker perspective. I think you guys are going to love it. But before we get into the show, huge announcement. Bombhole Beatdown is at Loon Mountain, January 10th. It's a rail jam. We have live music. It's a really fun deal. So come by if you're around. And Bombhole Cup official date is March 28th and 29th at Brighton, again here in Utah. So save those dates. Also, thank you to our Patreon members for supporting the show. And lastly, I want to thank the sponsors for coming on board and making this show possible. Thank you to Pacifico, Woodward, Bubs, Yeti, Nidaker, Arbor, Vans, Cole, Icon, Patagonia, Union, Powder Mountain, Momentous, and Shady Rays. Thank you guys so much. And let's get into it. The Mia Lambson episode. Here we go, Silk.
You are listening to the
Hey, MFM. See you on the lips. Back attack, dude.
Bon voyage!
Get that damn car off of the hill.
Slide down them big hills. You know what I mean? On the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
Okay, welcome to the Bombhole, which is presented by Run Through a Wall. Today, co-hosting in studio, we got Barrett Christie. What's happening, Barrett?
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for coming through. Of course, we got Silk D on production in studio. What's happening, Silk?
It's happening. Happy to be here.
Looking fantastic as usual.
Wow, thanks.
And we got Mia Lambson. Mia, what's happening?
Just living the dream.
Love
Happy
it.
to be here.
Well, we're so happy you're in the studio. I'm just going to jump right in and start talking about Wayward here. I want to hear about this production and how this idea of the film came to be.
Yeah, so Wayward is a film that I have been working on for the last couple of years, and I've had Barrett Christie and Cersei Wallace and a handful of other supremely talented people help me along the way. And it's basically about the women who changed snowboarding and these massive, incredible changes that we've seen in women's snowboarding over the last few years. But in order to kind of understand like where we are today and how amazing it is where we are today, we kind of have to look at the past and see where we came from. So that's the idea. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's an idea that was living in my head for honestly like 4 or 5 years, I think, before we pulled the trigger. So
I feel like we talked about this 3 years, like pre-COVID, right?
yeah, I think we started talking about it in like 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We even filmed an interview, didn't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah.
And
Just going to start somewhere.
So what made you want to jump on board, Barrett?
Mia, because it was so awesome to have somebody younger that I had known Mia through her work with the magazines and the fact that she just wanted to know, that she had an interest in history and she knew some of the stories, but she really wanted to dig in and learn more about where we came from and who the characters that brought us to where we're at now are. And she had more knowledge than most people, young people her age, and so of course, I like. It took me a long time to get to where I can feel really good about the past, because I think that there's, you compare where we were at then to where we're at now, riding style, and I just feel like it's a totally different sport, and I'm really glad I did what I did when I did it, because I don't see myself doing what they're doing now. And so, the fact that I've already matured enough that I can talk about the past and celebrate the past in that way, it was good timing.
So have you become, well said, by the way, Barrett, but just thinking about diving into all of the history of women's snowboarding, you basically probably became a historian in female snowboarding's history pretty quick, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, not quick, but yeah, it's actually kind of crazy how much information and stories I've collected in my head throughout the process of doing this. And it honestly really all started, and I think the seed of the idea was planted by Pat Bridges, because I got to spend so much time with him, and anybody who knows Pat knows he is a human encyclopedia and knows everything about snowboarding ever. And so, just spending like tens of hours in the car with him and on trips with him and just hearing all these crazy stories and talking about all these people who I had never heard of. And I'm like, what, I need to know more about this. And so I've always really respected Pat and his dedication to preserving and talking about the history. And so it's kind of where the seed was planted.
Amazing. Did you have any assumptions going into making this film? And was there anything that kind of wildly changed your perspective on anything once you dove in? Anything come to mind for that? Hard-hitting question right out of the gate.
I know. I mean, I think the most surprising thing that I've learned is honestly just how much women were ripping back in the day. And doing stuff in the 80s and 90s that would still hold water today. And, unless you had that one copy of a rogue VHS that there's 100 copies made or whatever, unless you were there, it's I just didn't know about these things. I didn't know how hard women were ripping before.
Looking at the media deck, it looks like you had it broken down into 4 chapters, right? Four kind of segments in time. Who are some of the early heroes, the shoulders that this game's been built on from that chapter 1 that maybe doesn't get enough shine? Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, the chapter 1 is for me has been the most exciting to dig into. The very beginning, and in the 80s, we had just a few people. There was Nicole Engelrath, Ashid Loftus, Amy Howitt, and then Tina started coming on the scene. It obviously, Barrett and Cersei and these bigger names started to come up. But, Morgan LaFonte was one that she was such a badass. The things that Morgan accomplished in the early 90s would still blow minds today. And that was a name that I had never heard. Obviously knew of Tina and Shannon and Barrett, but this person who just was ripping so hard just completely evaded the history books.
Well said. Go ahead.
I'm so glad that you brought up Morgan, because she was one of my heroes too, and she didn't fit the mold, right? She didn't do competitions. Victoria had come from racing. Some of her most iconic photos are carving and racing gates, and then she took that and had the support and the sponsorship to go do other amazing things in the backcountry. But Morgan was always right there with her doing all of that and then some, and she just didn't have the support system around her, and so then she didn't have her accomplishments go down in the history, in the archives. Yeah, unless you're collecting those VHS tapes.
Yeah, and Bridges brought up a good point too. When where we're at right now is AI and you Google searches and the information that gets put on the internet. Who is putting that information on the internet? Who is writing the right history? Because it could be the wrong history if there aren't people like yourself to say, oh, this is the first person that did this or that, and actually kind of archive it and put it out there properly.
No, 100%. And, I think that's where snowboarding's such a young sport, 40 years old. And I think now is really the time for us to make sure that we have that history down and that it's accessible to people. And it's important too, because that's how you build, that's how you progress. So you have to know what was done before to build off of that. And So when nobody knows, how do you build off of that? And I think Morgan's a perfect example. And one of the craziest stories that I uncovered in this was Morgan actually did she was doing double backflips in the early 90s. And nobody knew about it. It wasn't promoted by her sponsors. Nobody ran the photos of it. And, she was doing that plus a ton of gnarly Alaskan first descents and like all of this other shit that she should have gotten so much praise for. And, it wasn't until like 2011, 2012, whenever other women started to do double backflips, thinking that they were blazing the trail, which they were in a way because they didn't know about Morgan. But then you think like if Morgan's accomplishments had been celebrated, other women probably would have been trying doubles right after her.
100%.
Not 15 years later.
I saw it and I didn't try a double right after. But you're right.
Yeah.
And one thing Cersei brought up too that she thought was important was she was mentioning that obviously we're talking about the history of women's snowboarding, but it also ties into the present and the future, and it's the all encompassing, right?
Yeah.
They're all connected in this film.
Yeah, 100%. This isn't like a Ken Burns historical, like, we take it all the way through current day. And, I've interviewed everyone from Donna Carpenter and Barrett and that generation through, Leanne and Hannah and Jess and Des, all the way through to Jill and Mia Brooks and Zoe. And, I'm really trying to show the whole spectrum and a whole picture from start to present. Because, really like the last 5 to 7 years is where like we've seen this crazy uptick in progression for women. And honestly, this film is kind of like a case study on like why that happened. And it all comes back to support, financial, social support, and as soon as women got that, it was like the reins were off. But we kind of have to go through the whole thing in order to see how the different elements stacked and got us there.
Well said. I'm going to jump into a question from Cersei here. Let me just pull this up. There we go.
Hello, Granny and Barrett and Mia. This is Cersei calling. Mia, I wanted to ask you, what have you learned in making this film that you didn't know previously? What big reveals were there for you as you start to cut this thing? And what are some of your favorite things that have emerged, and what are some of your bigger challenges that you've been confronted with in this project? I am so excited to participate in this film and work with such amazing women as you and Barrett, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to ask a question. Godspeed.
Dude, Cersei is the shit. I will answer her question, but I just gotta say, before I forget, I think I had an epiphany the other day about this like amazing team of women that are helping me make this film. And, we have our editor who's just like the most organized person in the world, and she's just so on top of it and incredible. And her name's Beth Kearsley, and I'm like, all right, Beth, she's like the bones. She's holding this whole thing together. I'm the muscle, Barrett's the heart, and Cersei is the brain. Like, Cersei is for sure our brain, and we could not do this without her. So much love to Cersei. Three-part question. So it was like, things I've uncovered and learned. It's honestly hard to say because, like, all of it, like, so much, like, I didn't really know much before my time of getting into snowboarding. Like, I really started to like get into snowboarding and follow snowboard culture probably around 2005. And, I knew who Tara was. Like, I knew like kind of like the Roxy girls. I I just didn't really know much before getting into this. So everything has been a learning experience. And honestly, like, I think one of the things that's been the coolest to learn, it's just like seeing these different elements come together. Like, every person I've interviewed, there's like similar threads and elements of like what helped them build their success in their careers. And most of them have similar elements too of like challenges that they had to overcome. And just putting these pieces together of like what women actually need to be successful in a sport through these individual accounts has been really cool. It's been like an investigative process. And I don't remember the last.
Do you mind if I follow up on that?
Yeah.
Would you mind disclosing a few of these common threads?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the most obvious thing is social support. I would say like even more so than financial support. Financial support's a close second for sure. But in the times that these women were not socially supported by their community and their peers, and women's snowboarding was like talked about as lame, and you ride like a girl and you have girl style was like an insult. Like, those were the times that the girls had the hardest time. And, you know, it makes sense, because how can you try hard things if you don't believe in yourself? And how can you believe in yourself when your entire community is telling you that you suck? So and I think I knew that, but like having that cemented as like a fact after talking to all these people was really powerful.
So when you say social support, you mean the support of our peers?
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah. And society not telling you that that you shouldn't be here.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when I got into it, it was like the media. If there was ever like a local newspaper or, you know, a TV camera, it was always like, you're one of those shred Bettys, aren't you? And that just like always made me crazy. Like, Betty, who is Betty? Like, what does that mean?
It was like the OG term for snow bunny.
It was so degrading, and I just couldn't handle it. And so I think that's part of what helped us get to the next level, was just proving that we weren't just a Betty, or we weren't just like second to the dudes. And there was always that. I mean, Cersei has it, I have it, and always have, and it's just like we've got something to prove.
Yeah.
And you know, no matter what it is, but when we applied all that energy to snowboarding and just focused on proving, you know, for the whole of women in snowboarding that we were better than what they expected, then great things happened.
Yeah.
Well said. I believe there's a part 3. I know. What were some of the challenges? I believe was one of the questions.
Oh yeah, challenges of the project. I mean, there's a lot. This has been equal parts like the most rewarding and meaningful thing I have ever done and worked on in my life, like hands down. But it is also straight up the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I may have underestimated it a little bit before cracking
We're not done
it.
with
But
it yet.
yeah, we're charging ahead. You know, I think getting a hold of everybody, especially like the older gen who doesn't necessarily have Instagram and stuff, was a challenge at first. And that's where Barrett really came in. Barrett is actually like the Switzerland of snowboarding. She is friends with everybody, knows everybody. Like the people who she was able to connect me with, like I would not have been able to have access to all these people without her. And, you know, I think funding is a real, unfortunately, obvious one. It's this day and age, it's hard to get funding for any project. And a project of this scope just takes a massive amount of resources. You know, this is going to be a full length, like 90-minute documentary, hopefully with, you know, some extra webisodes and stuff on the side as well, because we have so much incredible footage that just won't fit into 90 minutes. But it takes a ton of resources. And I have to give shout outs to our sponsors, like the brands who have supported us. Like, I cannot thank enough for their like unwavering support. We have Yeti, Burton, Sunbum, and Woodward, who have all like really pulled through for us. And, you know, the fact that we've been able to get the project this far on the budget that we have is like incredible. But, you know, we have kind of reached the end of those funds, and I certainly funding some of this myself, and that can only last so long. So that's our current and our biggest challenge now, is just getting this across the finish line.
You know what I'd want to point out is that the brands that you just called out, and I don't know, maybe I knew this, but like those are the brands that have women in leadership. I mean, those women behind the scenes, and I know you cover this in the movie as well, like the influence of having women in decision-making roles at the companies, producing the events.
Massive. Yeah.
I mean, that's huge, because it was less of a hurdle to get across the line and to present to them the opportunity to showcase these stories and to tell this documentary style.
I'm so glad you said that. That's 100% true. You know, every one of our sponsors, you know, we have connected with women on that leadership team who did make the decision to give us the green light and support us. I think anybody can appreciate these stories, but, you know, I think it is really important for the brands to have women in leadership roles, because they're maybe going to see a project like this and see the real value and the real impact that can have on the community and on other girls and women. Whereas, you know, a guy might see it and be like, yeah, that's cool, but like not fully understand like how important it is.
We want to take a second to shout out Pacifico, the official beer of the podcast. If there's ever been a beer for the ones that get out there and chase it, it's Pacifico. It's a beer that embodies going off the expected path and doing something out of the ordinary. It's for the real adventurers, which is what we're all about here at the Bomb Hole. With Pacifico, it's all about trying to find your own way. Whether that's landing a new trick or trying to find the perfect line, that's the Pacifico spirit. No matter what you're doing, whatever the challenge is, embrace it, enjoy it, and then crack open a Pacifico afterwards to celebrate. Pacifico, find your own way. 21 plus, discover responsibly. Pacifico Clara beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
All right, people, we're going to talk about Union Bindings. I'm a huge fan of their products and this company. They just celebrated a huge milestone, 20 years in business. And one thing that I love is seeing rider-owned companies succeed. These guys care about snowboarding. They care about the environment. They just became a certified B Corp, which means they're environmentally conscious, thinking about the future. They've also invested so much time and effort into product development. I personally think they make the best bindings, smoothest ratchets. I'm biased. Don't take my word for it. Should take the rest of the team. They got Travis Rice on these bad Larrys. They got Austin Viz, Jess Kimura, Kazu, Arthur Longo, Mia Brooks, Joey Fava. All kinds of hitters have proven that these bindings kick ass. So if you're, they're also, I think they're making boots too, which is also pretty major. So if you're interested in checking out Union Bindings, go to unionbindingcompany.com. Check out their whole line. You won't be disappointed.
All right, we're going to take a quick break with a message from our good friends over at Woodward Copper. Now, if you're like Chris and you got a kid, maybe this kid needs to be enrolled in a class to enhance their snowboarding abilities. There's nothing like getting taught by the best. And the coaches over at Woodward Copper got you covered. World-class coaches are going to help your child succeed in every way. With training indoors and out, on and off the snow, your child is going to have the ability to grow and maximize their ability to throw down and do insane tricks. All this and more can be found at the Woodward Copper's Park Rats session. Full day, weekend session. Get your kids some new tricks, maybe make some new friends. They're definitely going to make memories that'll last a lifetime. To learn more, head on over to coppercolorado.com.
Well, God bless all the brands that are supporting this project. But what comes to mind for me, Mia, is, you know, if you're struggling with support, I feel like the people would want to support this project. Like I'm listening to you. I'm like, how can I support? Can I donate? So I think we should do a raffle for our listeners if people want to donate. I think we'll throw a Burton board up there. We'll do signed prints. We can do Barrett. You good for a signed print?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, right. We'll come up with a bunch of possible prizes to win, and then basically just go on bombhole.com. You can buy a raffle ticket. All 100% of those proceeds will go to funding this project. If you're listening to this and you want to support the project, and Mia, anything else to add? Any big donation ideas?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for saying that. And, you know, if there is anybody out there that maybe has a little bit of extra cash that you want to donate for any larger donations, we are sponsored by the Utah Film Center, which means that you can donate through them through a link on our website and get 100% tax deductible donation. So you can write off 100% of it. And to do that, you just go to tomboy-media.com/wayward, and there's a button right there.
Amazing.
That was the Wayward muscle that made that happen. So good job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, if you're listening, you want to support it, it's just a great cause. And I'm excited to support it myself. We'll let you know what we got for prizes on Bombhole as well. But I hope you guys can continue to find funding because what you're doing is important. And we have a Patreon question. Why don't we hit the Holdy B one?
Yeah, shout out all our Patreon members, actually. Thanks for signing up. This one's from Bombhole's only Holden Barth. Holden's question: Hey Mia, as we've seen the media landscape evolve from VHS to DVD to online, it feels like some snowboard history has been lost to time. What was a favorite discovery about the history of women's snowboarding while working on your first feature-length documentary?
Oh, I love Holden. He's holding snowboard media together himself. He's the glue.
It's all up there in his head.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. There's so many moments, but I would say like there's so much fun personality stuff that I've gotten to see through just digging through like old Rogue videos and like home videos. You know, I got like a bunch of old DV tapes from Susie Floros from the early 2000s with like Tara and Jana, and like just being able to see these women shine in their personalities and like how funny they are. Like that was probably my favorite bit, you know? And also like in the older videos, like the personality stuff wasn't really that big of a thing, I feel like, in a lot of the videos. So you just got to see like a small figure writing down a big face, and you didn't really get to know who they are. So that's been really fun.
I got a follow-up question. Favorite interview of all the interviews, all the countless hours of footage and interviewing and emails. Favorite interview?
Oh my gosh. That's honestly so hard.
You got to pick one though. Pick one.
I haven't seen them all, so.
I know. That is the world's hardest question. I'm gonna say Robin Van Gyn.
Woo!
Yeah, she made me cry a couple times in the interview, and she is just so real, and I just have nothing but love for her.
Don't you have a buzzer or something for her?
I got air horns, yep. I can do an air horn on that. Buzzer would be like you got the question wrong. But,
no,
so
not
I
a buzzer. I meant air horns.
I also heard a little secret that maybe there's Victoria Jalouse. Am I not allowed to say that on there?
No, you can say it. Yeah.
You got some morsels from her?
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, Victoria is the most like mystical, magical person I could think of. And it honestly, I could make a short film just like called Finding Victoria, because just to like find out where she is, find out like contact information for her, like a way to contact her. It took me like a year. And I finally got an email address for her. And never in my life have I thought so hard about an email to send. It took me like a week to draft this email. And, did not even expect a reply. And I got a reply a few weeks later, and I've never been so excited to open an email in my life. And she was just super open to answering any questions I have. At this point in her career, she's at this point in her life, I think she's not super keen to be in the media and on camera, which I totally respect. But she was super happy to answer my questions. So I sent her every question I would ever want to know about Victoria, and sent it back with like an asterisk of like, I don't expect you to answer all of these, like, even just responding is amazing. And she sent me back an 11-page document answering all of my questions and saying the most beautiful, like, I actually printed out the email and I brought it, and I'm like, because there might be some things we want to like pull from it or read it, because it's like poetry. And that, even though it wasn't an interview, that was like probably one of the most magical parts of this whole process.
Well said. We're going to get into another guest question. This one is from Katie Kennedy. Here we go.
Hi, Mia. It's Katie Kennedy, your sister of the media in the mountains. I can't wait to hear your episode. This past summer, we have been working together on the Tomboy Tape series, and it was mainly inspired by the Fresh and Tasty magazines, which you introduced me to. We've spent a lot of time looking through those archived issues, and I'm just curious why you think it's important for people to look back on old mags and media coverage like this. Thank you for your time.
That was classic.
Oh, I love Katie so much. She's my sister, my spiritual sister.
She asked a way better question of you than I asked of her with her bubble.
Her sign-off is almost better than the question, though.
No, great question, Katie. Yeah, why is it important? I mean, honestly, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's important for people to look back at this shit and like know the history, and be interested in learning about the history, because like I think that's what like preserves the culture, right? And like the culture in snowboarding to me is like just as important as the act of actually doing it. We don't want in 10 years from now people to still be snowboarding, but it's literally just like, no culture around it. It just becomes like pickleball or something, and it is like the history and where it came from that like gives it the flavor and makes people attracted to it. And I just think it's like the flavor on the whole thing. And if you know the history, or at least are like interested in looking into it, like you can see where all of our flavor and culture came from, and I don't know, continue that. I think that's really important.
Well articulated answer.
I know. You're really good, man.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, because I was like, you think about with snowboarding where we're going, people are doing 23, 40s. But then, if you're feeling uninspired, you can go back and watch a video from 2001 or 1997 and just watch a frontside air and how it was poked and kind of get right back to being reinvigorated to snowboard.
Yeah, 100%. And it's always like mad respect to anybody doing 20 whatevers. Like that's crazy. But that also, I don't think, is what makes people want to snowboard. And people wanting to snowboard is like the blood of it, right? Like that's in getting more people interested in snowboarding. And like if somebody's just learning how to snowboard, all they see is the X Games shit, they're going to be like, okay, well, I'm never going to do that. So like, maybe I'll just go like sled down this hill or something. But you know, yeah, they see somebody in a U-ditch from 95 doing a big old tweak, and it's like, okay, that's attainable and that looks sick. And I'm going to try that, you know, and I don't know. I think it's a part of it. And also, again, just back to like knowing where things came from, you can build off of it. And you're not going to like have to reinvent the wheel if you already know what's been going on. Yeah.
Isn't there a saying, the progress is built on the achievements of the past? Or like, and look at fashion. Like if the kids, my kids don't know, like they weren't around in the 80s, but suddenly the 80s are back and then the 90s are back. And like they have to know, it's well documented fashion influence over the years, but snowboarding, it does come around, you know, like the tricks come back around, the style, but you have to know those fundamentals. And that's where you can get those fundamentals, the flow, the arc of a turn, and like, you know, the executing a grab and not just whipping it around. And I think that with more and more eyeballs on the sport as we're coming up to an Olympic year, like it's important that people can kind of connect with it at the most fundamental level, because obviously we all want more people to participate in the sport, you know, within reason at our home mountain. Maybe not,
yeah, maybe we need a few more resorts.
But we want the industry to thrive, and we need increased participation. We need the new generations to want to do that, and they have to connect on the fundamentals and be attracted to it at the most basic level. And you see that in all the old footage, and I mean, you can really connect with a Victoria turn still, and you know,
just another layer of inspiration you can draw from.
Well said. Can I ask an interesting, hard-hitting question?
Yes.
I don't know if it's interesting or hard-hitting. It's just a thought, because, you know, looking at the demographic, a lot of people listen to our show are dudes, you know. And I guess simply put, to phrase it up, is, you know, why is it important for dudes to care about this?
Because dudes hold the keys. Straight up. Like, you have from the beginning and you still do. And that's great. But, like, you're the ones opening the doors for other people. And, you know, I don't think any of, like, these missteps throughout time where, you know, maybe women have been excluded and there's been a lot of tokenism and a lack of support for women. I don't think that any of that was ever like intentional or malicious. You know, that's not the thing. It's just when you're in this lane and you're hanging out with your guy friends and you're doing all the things, it's like you get like a little tunnel vision. And maybe you forget about the other people that need to be let in to the thing that you have the keys to, you know? And so especially as a sport that like we're so male dominated from the start because participation was being pulled from skate and surf, which were already male dominated. And, you know, it just culturally, that how things went was from the beginning, it was always dudes in leadership roles, dudes owning the companies, dudes running the marketing, dudes running the product lines. And they just didn't necessarily think about what the women needed because it just wasn't on their radar. And so, you know, I think we've seen all these like super positive changes throughout the last couple of years, I think in part because of social media and, you know, people's voices having a platform to be elevated so that they're heard. And now these men in these leadership positions are hearing the things that maybe they missed before. And so, you know, I do think it's super important for anybody, like however you identify, to hear these stories and, I don't know, just recognize like if you are in a position of power, if you can make decisions about marketing, about product, about, you know, anything that's going to affect this world that we live in, just double checking, taking a second and making sure that you're ticking all the boxes, that you're helping all of the people and you're giving everybody what they need to succeed, and not just like you and your homies and what's like closest to you.
Well said.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Barrett?
I keep thinking about how there were women in leadership in the 90s when you first started to see opportunities like Shannon's first pro model and like Tina and Gayleen. They both call out Gayleen, Lisa Hudson. And you could see there was like a step forward at that point where those girls were in ads and I had opportunities without I did have a female team manager at LibTech when I first came out, or right about that time, and other women in the company then. And so you could see them being elevated. And then I don't know what happened in the middle there. Like a lot of the companies there were conglomerates and they sold and combined. And like, it seems like it was hard to have women in those decision-making roles for a decade there. And you could see progression kind of stifled a bit, and maybe there's more to it. But, all of that is because when there's more women out there, when there's more people being supported in the industry to go out and show the world what they have to offer, what they can do, more eyeballs on them, and then more people join the party and want to play. And then obviously that makes companies money, and so then they want to invest in something that they're going to get a return on. Mm-hmm. I'm really rambling now, but like there needs to be a return on investment. And I think when, like what you're saying, when they're living in a tunnel and they're seeing their homies and they're just going down one path, they don't see all the opportunity for income and return on investment outside of their lane because they're not even playing in another lane.
Yeah.
And then like there has been a lot of progress lately because I think a lot of brands have come to realize that women hold a lot of buying power within a family. So even if they're not buying women's product, they're still responsible for purchases for their kids and their family. And so, yeah, there is more interest in promoting products that are attractive to women.
Yeah.
They want to buy.
And just to riff off that for a minute, because I think that this is something that's been really fascinating to me in this whole process is, all of the stats and data and that like go into it with the actual like financial part of it. And, I have a great quote from Donna Carpenter saying, like diversity in your marketing and in your leadership team, it's not a feel-good initiative. It's a bottom line initiative. Like this isn't just to be like socially in line with whatever's cool right now, but like you're going to make more money if you market and sell to women, which is a massive demographic. And, women hold the majority of the spending power in households globally. And the fastest growing demographic of snowboarders is between 12 and 14-year-olds. Who's buying their snowboards? Probably their mama. So if you aren't marketing your shit in a way that a mom is going to want to buy it, then she's probably not going to buy that board for her kid. And it just trickles down. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
yeah.
No, I think it's really well said too. And I think the biggest thing for us dudes is like, I think empathy goes a long way and looking at it from other people's perspectives. At least it helps me a lot. Like we go through the world and we just hang out with our buddies of sick front board, bro. Like we're, you know what I mean? Like we're like pretty simple creatures, but sometimes like we need to be told like, hey, dipshit, take a look at this, and not in like a negative way, like we're blowing it, but just kind of the light bulb goes off and says, oh yeah, that makes sense, and we need to be reminded of these things. And it's great to hear. And, so thanks for shedding light on this stuff. I don't know if I'm articulating myself well at all.
Yeah.
But
who wouldn't? I mean, even your simple dude bro friends, like you watch women at the X Games, and that's more like it's more pleasant to watch, isn't it? Like,
slope style for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's achievable, but it's still not achievable.
Yeah.
I mean, not for me.
Yeah.
Probably not for me.
Yeah.
Probably not for you either.
No, not at all. No.
But like it's still like it's so much. It's so fun to watch, and you can relate to it, and it makes you want to go out and check out what they're wearing. Like they're style influencers too,
Oh, yeah.
and they're influencing style within the whole industry, not just of the women's line in that one, brand.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and I think that's where we're at too, where it's like, remove gender, just remove gender. But like, you just look at a lot of, they're just badass snowboarders. That's all they are. They're just badass snowboarders, whether men or women. And it's cool where you're not like, oh, she's like sick for a girl or something, like you're just like, that person who happens to be a woman is fucking ripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a really cool spot. Especially you watch Mia Brooks, you watch Jill, you watch Zoe, like you watch Chloe Kim. There's like some crazy elite level things happening where it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Short list.
It's crazy these days. Like, oh my gosh. And it is really like the level you can't tell like the guys from the girls anymore. Even just like riding around at Woodward or Brighton or wherever, you have no idea. You're like, that person just did that insane thing. You don't know till you get to the bottom of the lift and maybe they take their goggles off and you're like, oh, that was a chick. Like you don't even know. And I don't know, it's just so sick to see the evolution and this like crazy progression. Yeah. Like from the beginning. It's been such a journey to watch over the last 2 decades.
I think the one thing that's been cool to watch too is like when I came up, you go to a rail jam, men win 10 grand, the woman wins 500. There's, 40 dudes to 5 women. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like they were the dark ages of women's snowboarding where they were just kind of getting their teeth kicked in. And now it's like these women have kind of like walked so these other women can run, like you're seeing the fruits of the labor come through with this new generation. Barrett, maybe you could speak on that better than I can.
The dark ages, we weren't even invited. There was no $500 prize.
There was no women's category.
But like the reason being would be because, there's not enough women to fill a whole category. But, not until you open it up are they going to elevate and want to compete. And so, it went from not being invited and trying to poach the courses to, X Games came along and there weren't as many women in the field, but we had equal prize money for down to someplace, I don't know, 5th maybe. Mm-hmm. But, pretty quickly then after that, people had the opportunity to see women progressing at that level. And then the next year there was like twice as many that had already reached that level and were progressing beyond that. And like it kept going. And so even Chloe and Mia would tell you they saw Kelly Clark do stuff in the pipe and then they saw that it was possible. Or Caitlin Farrington. Like I know like all those girls had somebody that they stepped up above because they had that goal to reach for, and then they far exceeded it. And that's kind of where it starts. It has to start somewhere. So the dark ages. It was. I got in when I had to fight my way into a couple events, but the work had already been done before me. There were women that Amy Howard had to compete against the guys. Yeah, and she still beat a lot of them, most of them.
I know Morgan LaFonte was in the guys category in one of the extreme like backcountry contests in Alaska in like 1995, and she actually placed amongst the guys.
King of the Hill?
Yeah, it was the King of the Hill. Yeah. But it is really like this like build upon thing, right? Where even like in my era when I was younger and, going to rail jams and watching them and stuff, it's like, well, yeah, the guys would get like a couple grand and the girls, a lot of the times it'd be like, oh, here's like a pair of boots, sample boots that probably don't fit you. Like, good luck, but the girls that had to deal with that, the Robins and the Jesses of the world. Like those are the girls now that are in the positions who are like, we're going to make sure that this next generation doesn't have to do that. And, it's funny, whenever I was looking for media for this project, I came across this photo of Jess Kimura when she won hot dogs and handrails, and she looks so bummed, and she's holding a check, I think for $1,000 or $500, and she's holding an empty bottle of champagne, just looking so forlorn. And the dudes are next to her celebrating with their $10,000 check. I think like third place got like $10,000 or something, and spraying their champagne. And I asked her about that photo, and she's like, oh yeah, they like didn't even give me a bottle of champagne. They let me hold the empty bottle at the end of it. And she was just so bummed. She's like, that specific incident is why she always has like 100 bottles of champagne at the uninvited. So every girl gets a bottle of champagne, you know? And it's just so sick to see these girls that like did have to go through the dark ages and deal with like a lot of rejection in the industry, stepping up and making sure that like that doesn't continue.
Mm-hmm. And look at the uninvited invitational. Dude, look at the prize money. Look at and I think it's working because I think we've talked about it on some of our other shows, but like I think some of the younger girls like Jess Perlmutter and things like that, like they don't even actually really relate to some of the things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Like
totally. Even like, you know, Mia Brooks and you know, like this, and that's like the craziest thing is these girls who are like killing it now and doing shit that we were told women would never do. They have never been told that they can't do it because they're a girl. They've never been told that they are less than because of they're a girl. And that is specifically why they can do all this shit, you know? Like when you have that much confidence and you have people backing you up, you can believe in yourself and you're gonna try hard and scary things. And it's just like proof in the pudding of like that social support is number one. You know, financial support close second. Have to definitely say that. And women do need more financial support. Still, things are not parallel. You know, the top women in their field are still getting paid a percentage of what their male counterparts are getting paid. So that is still, I think, a hill that we have to climb. But the social support is like out of this world now.
Go ahead.
Oh, just mindset. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I just was thinking back on my mindset and it was all over the place. I can't even believe I did what I did without a solid mindset and without I had a good supportive crew around me, but it definitely wasn't the industry believing in us as a whole. It was like, we were still trying to prove everybody wrong, but now there's nothing. I mean, they're trying to prove they're better than everybody around them, but not because they're a girl, just because they are, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally shoot holes in me if I'm off target here, but I do feel like in the grand scheme of like sports, when you compare snowboarding to a lot of other even action sports or especially motorsports, I think I'm not saying we're there, but I'm saying we're doing pretty good. Would you agree, or what's your take on that?
I mean, you know, I don't know a ton about a lot of other sports, but from what I can see, I think that we're definitely like one of the ones leading the charge, for sure. I think sports in general has a long way to go still, but at the same time, like we're seeing positive changes across the board in sports. I mean, look at like the WNBA, like that shit is popping.
Yep.
Like they are setting records like almost with every game with like viewership and attendance and, you know, like women's soccer, like all of these sports, it's like something happened and they're like a switch went off in the collective consciousness of people just woke up one day and were like, yeah, women are sick.
Yeah, but then they still need people like Cersei out there fighting for their return. As players, there's definitely a gap there. Yeah. It's not even in the same ballpark.
Totally. And, I think probably in sports like surfing where it's like, you're like in a bikini the whole time or something, like, there's going to be like inherent obstacles that are harder to overcome. You know, a sport that you're doing in a bikini, there's just going to be more shit that you got to get over and the industry's going to have to deal with to reach like the level of quality.
Do you guys watch surfing? Did you watch the finals yesterday?
I did not know.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's I keep thinking about that sport. Like those women have come so far too. You would not want to be in a lineup with any of them. And I mean, I would just to watch, but they're so good. And that gap is closed too. The gap between where the professional men are and the professional women, both in snowboarding and surfing, has really closed. And park skating. And like you see it.
Skating?
Yeah, good point. Going back to some of that stuff too, like with WNBA, you know, Caitlin Clark, you look at what she did for the WNBA. And I think about that socially, like, as a society or just as humans, we just love a dominant winner, whether it's like Tiger Woods in golf, Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Like, I think, you know, having Chloe in halfpipe, I think is really good. Like Shaun White did a lot for snowboarding just in the mainstream of introducing people to what snowboarding is by being such a dominant winner. So I do think when we have dominant winners in a sport, it actually helps on a mainstream level. So.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, it's just a good sports story, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, there's sports docs out there that like, I literally watched a documentary about like sailboat racing the other day. Like, I don't give a shit about sailboat racing, never even been on a sailboat. But a good sports story is a good sports story, period, whether you are into that sport or not, you know, it's captivating.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question about Wayward, and then we're going to go back to the beginning. But what was the most rewarding part of this film so far to make?
Oh, that's such a good question. Honestly, the relationships that I've made. Like, this is such a selfish answer, to be honest. You know, I'm really proud of the impact that I know that this film will have on our industry. And that in itself has been so rewarding. But like, dude, getting to not only meet all of my heroes, but like become friends with them, like that's insane. Like the fact that like Barrett is here right now supporting me, like the fact that honestly, like Barrett and Cersei are like my aunts now. Like,
I'm glad you didn't say grandmothers.
No, like I feel like you guys are like family, and you know, it just building these relationships, you know, getting to know, like I was able to reconnect Morgan and Victoria with each other. They fell out of touch and didn't have each other's information or anything. And like, I was able to like reconnect that friendship for them. And like, that was like so incredible for me to like be able to meet and create relationships with every single one of these women that I've talked to. And I look up to every single one of them, and not only create a relationship with them, but also feel like I'm working in service of them. You know, like to meet your heroes is one thing, but to be able to like do something in service of your heroes is like such an incredible opportunity. And yeah, I can't say enough about how thankful I am to know all these women.
Me too. I kept a job after riding in snowboarding because in part I wanted to stay connected to the next generation, and then you know, and then I got attached to the generation after them, and like and all those relationships are so rewarding, and it is so nice to still have kept a foot in the door to be able to help with a project like this and bring this to life, because I know a lot of women from my generation completely checked out, you know. Maybe some are coming back now, but most of the time, like when you go have kids and you know, you have babies, and a lot of the women, there was no reason to stick around. There wasn't money. There was like, they may go snowboarding for fun, but there was no like career path beyond hucking yourself for sponsorship dollars and in the industry. And so I think we lost a lot of women who have the knowledge and have the understanding of where we came from, and could, now that you see so much more involvement from the early generations coming back into the industry or staying involved. Like now I'm seeing the progress move forward, and I'm grateful for a project like this because so many people don't know where we came from.
Mm-hmm. Well said. And I think to add to that too, you look at snowboarding, to me, that sounds corny, but it does feel like a tribe. It feels like a tribe of friends and a community, and just kudos to you for bolstering the tribe and explaining to people, letting them know where we came from and where we're headed. So kudos to that. All right, we're going to talk about Arbor. I like what Arbor's got going on these days. They're doing big things. So Arbor has been making high-performance snowboards for nearly 30 years with a little thing called craftsmanship, and they do it with a conscience. These guys were on the sustainability tip long before it was cool, using real wood top sheets, eco-friendly materials, and giving a damn about the mountains and the planet. They're backed by one of the sickest teams out there. We're talking Jared Elston, a.k.a. Big Air Jer, Mary Francois, Red Gerard, who just won an X Games gold, Brian Iguchi, Danny Cass, and many others. Arbor Snowboarding is resetting the standard, blending high performance and sustainability with precision, power, and purpose. So whether you're straight lining like a psycho or going full dummy in the park, Arbor's got A-grade boards and bindings that you need to ride your best. So check out Arbor. They got a lot of cool stuff going on. All right, let me tell you what I'm excited about, people. These Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die hydration packs. We are hammering these things at the office all day long. I'm drinking these on the daily, staying hydrated, whether I'm just at work or I'm out getting after it on my snowboard. And one thing people should know is that 75% of Americans are dehydrated. You're talking about losing strength, focus, endurance. You can have some brain fog. So let's hear the science. Your body needs electrolytes. We're talking sodium, potassium, magnesium to actually pull water into your cells. That's where Bubs Hydrate or Die comes in. It's based on oral rehydration solution science, a blend of sodium and glucose that pushes hydration directly into your bloodstream fast. We're talking 2 to 3 times faster than water alone. That's not hype, that's actual data. So whether you're flying, you're climbing, you're drinking, you're working, or you're just up at altitude, you're losing more than you think when it comes to water. Hydrate or Die brings it back. We're talking 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes per pack, cane sugar only, no sketchy sweeteners, and it's NSF certified for sport. It's clean, tested, and made in the USA. And let me tell you something, this new formulation tastes really, really good. So, hydration's not optional. It's the cheat code to keep going. Hydrate smart, hydrate clean, hydrate or die. Head on over to bubsnaturals.com, grab a box. Your muscles, your brain, and your send will thank you. It's Bombhole approved. Let's do this.
Bombhole listeners, I got some news for you. The holidays are fast approaching, and if you ask me, Yeti is making the perfect holiday gifts. They've got leak-proof and stackable designs that are available in a rather wide selection of colors. They've got drinkware for everything drinkable. We're talking water, check, coffee, check, wine, check, beer, check, etc. The list goes on. I don't need to keep going, do I? Personally, I'm going to be rocking this Rambler drinkware all winter long because A, it has rust and puncture-resistant kitchen-grade stainless steel, and B, it's been expertly designed to keep the cold drinks cold, just like all Yeti products. And if you're participating in, let's say, a stocking this year, perhaps, might I recommend some stocking stuffer gift ideas such as A, the shot glass, or B, a flask? If you're interested in some Yeti products, head on over to yeti.com.
All right, Mia, let's go back to the beginning. Let's get into how you found snowboarding, where you're from.
Yeah, so it's actually a miracle that I found snowboarding. I was born and raised in northern Texas till I was 8, and then my family moved to Cedar City, Utah.
Wow.
Yep. And yeah, when I was like, there's a tiny little resort outside of Cedar, about an hour outside of Cedar, called Bryan Head. And when I was like 10, the 9 or 10, the 2002 Olympics happened. And
you were only 9 or 10
I was a baby. Yeah. And I remember watching it on TV and being like, this is the sickest thing ever. I have to do this. And nobody in my family skied or snowboarded or like did anything. So my mom, she signed me up for this like school program thing where she would just like drop me off at the bus and pack a lunch, and I would go up and get some lessons and ride. And like, I loved it. Like from the beginning, I was like, this is my shit. And I don't know. I always was kind of like the kid that like, well, now in retrospect, I think it was the ADHD, but I didn't know this at the time. But I never had like a hobby or an interest like really stick. You know, I tried band, I don't know, like all sorts of stuff, and nothing really held my interest for more than like a short period of time. But like snowboarding from the get-go, I'm like, this is my shit. Yeah, and then when I turned 14, I got my first job at Brian Head, working at the coffee shop up there. And so I would go up on nights and weekends and got a free pass. And I didn't really have any friends that snowboarded either. So I would go up and, you know, work at the little coffee stand. And whenever I would get breaks or whatever, I would go out and teach myself how to snowboard. And I was so bad. I was falling leaf all over the place. But yeah, it just, you know, eventually I kind of found my tribe at Brian Head, and yeah, I don't know, it's game on.
What about the Fava family? Did you see, they must have been younger than you. Did you see the Junior Bacon Fava squad?
I'm so glad you brought up the Favas. I love those boys so much. Yeah, so I was actually really good friends with their older sister, Lauren Fava. She was in my grade, and in 5th grade, we became friends. And I love telling this story. Joey probably hates it, but I remember the day that I met Pat and Joey. And I think Joey must have been 2. And I roll up to their house, and Joey is in diapers on his dad's skateboard, tic-tacking around on their driveway. And I'm just like, there's a baby on a skateboard. Like, what is happening? But yeah, so, you know, I grew up with the Favas, and they were always like, they were the kids riding around Brian Head that everybody was like, oh, those kids are going somewhere. Like, you knew from the beginning. Like, Joey was doing rodeos at like 9. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was also a small kid, so it looked like a 5-year-old doing rodeos. And like, you know, that whole family is just so awesome. And to see them now like doing it is just the sickest thing ever.
One other thing to add about Cedar City, Utah, there's one other legend from there. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but I'm bringing him up anyway. Phil the dog. My dog, Phil the dog, is from Cedar City, Utah.
No way.
A little bit more legendary than the Favas, but just kind of a little sidebar.
You might have to get him into therapy.
It is strange.
That place is, you stay there too long and fuck you up.
Okay, I got a question. Who'd you look up to being from Cedar City, Utah as a young snowboarder?
Oh my God. So when I was like probably like 15, I like finally found like my like crew. And, you know, there wasn't really any other girls in that I knew that snowboarded, that like went to my high school or anything. And there was this crew of guys, most of them were from St. George, and that I became friends with. And so I would roll around with them, and they kind of like, they showed me what snowboard culture was, because I didn't know. Like, I didn't even know like the websites or anything, and they showed me what Snowboarder Mag was, and then I got a subscription, and they showed me like all the videos, and so I was very influenced by what these guys liked, and they were super into Tech 9, and you know, like rap everything, baggy everything, and like, so I'm like, all right, this is my shit, like, and so yeah, once I started to understand and explore the culture, it was like, I loved the Tech 9 videos. I got my hands on, I had like a really limited collection of videos because like the little skate shop that was in Cedar, like they didn't have the best selection. And so I just go like see whatever like was on sale and grab it and just watch those movies till they like wouldn't play anymore. And standard films was like a big one. Like I think my most played films of all time were probably like Picture This, Paradox, and Cold World.
Whew. Whew. Those are classics, though. Sidebar, what was the fit looking like? Were you Tech 9'd up in some baggies, or what were you running?
The fit was so embarrassing. It was not good baggy. It was like I was running hand-me-downs from my like 6 foot tall homie. Yeah, like just, I don't know, baggy everything. I think I had this like giant white DC jacket and like some hand-me-down pants.
That's fire.
The first board I ever got too was like the first board I ever bought was a Tech 9 Classic, which great looking board, you know, just plain white top sheet with a black Tech 9 logo and reversed on the bottom. And I loved it, but it was too big for me. It was like a 152. I'm like 5'4". Like I was like 110 pounds at that point. Like could not ride this. It was stiff too. Could not ride this board. But
you look fresh.
How wide was your stance?
Yeah, another good question, Barrett.
I don't know, probably like 23 inches or something.
You gotta archive a photo for the.
Oh God, I'll try, but I may have like destroyed all the evidence. Honestly,
ceremonial burnage of the photos to forget the memories. All right, we're gonna get to a segment of the show right now. Silk, do you have any idea what segment that might be?
Got a feeling it's gonna be Name That Video part. God. You look so stressed right now.
I'm pretty stressed.
Confidence level 0 through 10.
I'll give myself a 1.
1?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
A 1.
It's pretty high.
Dude, they all blend in. I've seen so much
Barrett,
shit. It all blends in.
What's your confidence level for her?
Oh, for her, like a 6.5.
I like that. I like that. Barrett believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Here we go. Good luck.
Dude, of course.
You know it.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. I had a feeling. Yes. I had a feeling.
Yes.
Honestly, Lucas Magoon, Cold World.
Yes. Nice. Yes.
I should have given you a 10.
Yep. Yeah, I got to hit the applause for that.
Oh, wow.
That's major. Also, shout out to your husband for queuing that up. I asked Trev, I'm like, what's she going to know? And he says a couple, and he goes, you know what? Lucas Magoon, Cold World. She'll know that. I pulled it up.
Sick.
I love that you know that. You backed up your claims, too, of being a Gooner fan.
Dude, yeah.
Oh, congratulations. You won a Bombhole Yeti bag with some Bombhole merch.
Amazing.
So thanks for participating, and also congratulations. Part 2 of Name That Video part is for our listeners. If you know the part and you know the song, comment on the photo of Mia. That's where we pick our winner. Good luck. Here we go. Okay. Thank you guys for playing Name That Video part. All right, so you're wearing Tech 9. You got a 152 Tech 9. You're looking swagged out, white DC coat. Mm-hmm. Where did snowboarding take you from there? How did it evolve?
Oh, man. I mean, I just became so obsessed with it. I knew from by the time I was like 15 or 16 that the only career I could see for myself would be in snowboarding. And I also knew that I would never be good enough to actually be a pro snowboarder. Like the writing was on the wall for me. But I don't know. I think when I was probably like 16, I just like had this realization that I was like, I love watching these movies. And a lot of times when I'm watching them, like I'm thinking more about how it's filmed than the actual like trick they're doing or whatever. And, you know, I've always been like a pretty creative person, like to do art and stuff, and always been like pretty good at like technology stuff. And it just all kind of like clicked. So from a really young age, I was like, I'm going to be a snowboard filmer. Like, I don't own a camera. Like, never tried to do film snowboarding, but this is what I'm going to do. And yeah, I mean, like, I think like junior, senior of high school too, I took a class that was like an internship class or something, but like you had to do like a presentation on like the career you wanted and like your 5-year plan and 10-year plan of like how you were going to do it. And like, I did mine all on like filming snowboarding. And this is before I ever picked up a camera, but I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I don't know, I just like never really had another path that I thought about. And so when I graduated high school, I moved to Salt Lake like right away. And I had like a few friends up here that I had like met through snowboarding. And then my parents were honestly so supportive because they did not understand it at all. But they knew that I loved it. And they had like a little bit of money set aside for like my first semester at college. And I was like, I don't want to go to college. I want to do this other thing. And I don't need a degree for, like, I can't go to college to learn how to film snowboarding, basically. And they just trusted me, and they used that little bit of like college money to buy me my first camera and my first computer, and just were like, okay, there you go. And so I just started going to Brighton with my homies and making like the actual worst edits of all time, like full trial and error. Like, so I remember like, dude, one time I think I was filming with like Chase Gallegos and Aaron Brimhall, and I remember like one of them like telling me, they're like, yeah, like you have to push record before we get on the rail. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like that makes sense. Like,
that's incredible. I'm actually going to jump into a question from Mary Walsh right here. Here we go.
Hey everyone, Chris, Barrett, Mia. What an epic trio of humans. I just love you guys, and I can't wait to listen to this episode of The Bomb Hole. Mia, I can't wait to hear your perspective on everything. And I wanted to throw a question into the mix. So, with so much respect and homage and props to all of the women filmmakers and writers who have worked on projects and picked up a camera to create opportunities for women in snowboarding, you know, everyone from June and Estee with Peep Show, Leanne with Runway, Danielle Too Hard, Jess and the Uninvited, and I'm sure there's others that I'm obviously not thinking off the top of my head, but huge props to all the women who have worked on movie projects. But even considering that, it still seems like the number of women filmmakers in snowboarding historically, though I think that is shifting a bit, is fairly low, really. So I have a two-part question for you. First, I wanted to ask why you think there aren't as many women filmers and filmmakers in snowboarding historically. And two, how can we, as an industry and community, support and, you know, provide resources and kind of incubate women filmers to give them more opportunity and more time, you know, behind their cameras and in the editing base and working on, you know, awesome snowboarding projects. Stoked to hear the episode, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Bye.
dude, Mary needs an air horn.
Oh, yeah. I can cue that up.
Oh, Mary is just, I cannot express my love and admiration for that woman. Like, world's biggest boss in my book. But yeah, I mean, great question, honestly, because you see like a lot of, I don't even know if a lot is the right term, but like you see a fair amount of like female photographers, but like filmers is, you know, there's some coming up now, and there have been like a few of us throughout time. And I don't know how it is in other sports, but from what I've seen, at least in, like skating and sports similar to ours, I think it's the same story where it's just like, there's just not. And I can't tell you for everybody else why maybe they're not doing it if they want to, but there are some crazy barriers to getting into filming. And I just think those barriers are like compounded by being a chick. For one, it's super expensive. Like, especially if you want to get jobs that pay well, you have to have expensive equipment. And I mean, that's kind of changing a little bit now because kind of like the lo-fi dad cam vibes is like coming back and that's really cool. But like really like the cost to entry is number one. And, it's a fact that there is a pay gap still for women, women across the board, across the world, bring in less money than men. So I think that's a factor. And it's also like you have to learn like 10 different skills in order to like film. Like you can't just like learn how to like point the camera and push a button. Like you got to learn how to edit. You got to learn like all of these different things. You also have to be able to snowboard decent. You have to be able to ride around with like a 40-pound backpack in powder and not tomahawk, which I still do.
Dudes do too, though.
Yeah.
It's just like so taxing. And I think for a long time, it's easier to like film your peers, right? And who you're hanging out with. And really until recently, girls didn't have enough budget for a filmer. That's why like all these girl projects, like Peep Show, Too Hard, like all of these things were like even like Uninvited is like just the girls filming each other for the most part because there is no budget for a filmer. So why are you going to try and get into a career that you can't, that isn't viable, especially a career that you have to put in, at this point, probably like $10,000 plus in equipment just to get started. And then you're going to make no money from it. Like it's just crazy. So I don't know, but I think that's probably why, but it's getting better. And there's so many sick filmers now, chick filmers that are coming up. I know like 4 or 5 of them, which is like insane. Like globally, I know of like 4 or 5 other chicks besides me that are like actually seriously into filming snowboarding. And like 4 or 5 isn't a lot, but like for me, that's like the world. Because I was the only one out there for a long time, or I felt like I was.
Well,
Why do you get paid less for for you're pitching projects to brands or you're bidding on projects for brands? Like why you're carrying the same camera, you're pushing the same start button, you're producing the same content or better. Like why would you get paid less?
I don't even think it's necessarily like I don't think I'm getting paid less for a project that I'm pitching versus like a male filmer. But I do think that there's less opportunity for women's projects. And, I think one place where our industry could still do better is I still am kind of only getting hired. Like women are primarily getting hired to film and shoot other women. And the women's budgets are still a lot smaller than the men's. And there's a lot less projects going on for women. So there's just less opportunity to make money. Yeah. And the women's projects are usually smaller budget. And, I have filmed with the guys and done guys projects and mixed gender projects, but that is like not the norm. You'll see guys filming girls and whatever, but like to see female photographers and filmers shooting for a guy's project, just still, we haven't broken through that as much as we should in our industry.
I know Mary has different roles within snowboarding and with cameras, but like, she has to be good in front of the camera too. And I think a lot of women aren't going to be seen if they're filmers because they're behind the camera. And you as well are on the mic now in front of a camera. And like, you kind of have to be good at a lot of different things. Like you said, both editing, filming, writing, but also you have to be the kind of personality that could step in as the subject, right? I mean, do you find that that's part of the expectation when you take on a job?
I think it just depends on the job. But I do think that a part of it that also probably is, one of many answers to Mary's question is if you want to get on the projects that actually have like budget, it's probably a dude's project or a mixed gender project. And you have to have proved yourself that you can hang with the dudes. And the guys don't have to prove that they can hang with the girls. Like they'll put whatever filmer, photographer, whatever with the girls without even blinking about it. But like you have to be like vetted as a chick in media to be able to go shoot with the guys. They want to make sure that you can sit in the van and you can listen to raunchy jokes and you're not going to get offended. And you have to get vetted before you get asked onto those projects.
All right, people, I got to come clean. I've been making fun of my friends for years for drinking creatine, but I'm a hypocrite because now I personally love chugging creatine. Here's why. If you're out riding all day, it's one of the best things you can take. It's great for strength, recovery, and even mental focus. And Momentous makes the cleanest creatine on the planet. We're talking no fillers, no junk, just pure CreaPure in these new lemon travel packs. They're great. You just throw them in your pocket, mix them up with some water. Great consistency. They go down smooth. I love them. And that's why pros, Olympians, and even the U.S. military trust Momentous. So go to livemomentous.com, drop in the code BOMBHOLE, and you'll get up to 35% off your first order. And you too can become a creatine believer like myself.
Hello, Bumhole listeners. Nick Raz here, live from beautiful Jindabyne, Australia. I want to talk today about the Nidecker Need to Know. Each week for the rest of the year, you can get yourself a chance to win a beautiful snowboard just like this one. This is the Sensor Team, which I love. It's very stable whether I'm riding rails, jumps, or just taking some laps with my butts. So all you have to do is head over to the Bumhole's Instagram and answer this question. Who do you think is the best snowboarder to come out of Quebec, Canada? So leave your answer in the comments and we will pick our favorite ones. Let's get back to the show.
One thing that we haven't talked about that I think about as a filmer is how fucking cold it is. Like the one thing I think about this, let's just say it's a backcountry jump, or let's just say we're in Quebec and it's minus 30 and I'm hiking the rail. I'm moving, I'm shoveling, I'm doing whatever, I'm moving the whole time. You guys stand there, negative 20 degrees, and basically have to not get hypothermia. You have to have so much goddamn passion to be a snowboard filmer that I have so much respect for what you guys do. And anybody, God bless anybody that wants to stand there and film their friends slide down a rail for 6 hours in negative 20 degrees. That's it. It's not really a question, kind of a rant. Maybe you can speak on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit is cold. It gets real cold, but little hand warmers in the boots and you figure it out.
At least your gear's gotten better than that Tech 9 gear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least it's dry.
Yeah, Katie said you had some swaggy backcountry kits, too.
Oh, yeah. My backcountry kits were kind of on fire this year.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I went to Natural Selection. I had to look good.
So what was your first kind of gig filming snowboarding?
So Brighton Resort was my first actual film job. And
Hold on. What camera? Sorry.
It was a Sony FS6, I believe. Little DV cam. Nothing great. And I'd been filming with my homies for a few years there, or a season or two. I still wasn't great, but there was no media department at Brighton. And I wanted a reason to make stuff. Because I was super hungry to make stuff, but it's hard to be creative and make stuff when you don't have a purpose. And I just wanted a purpose more than anything. So I had worked for a couple years just like part-time at the ski school at Brighton. And so I knew Jared Winkler from that. And so I kind of like pestered him for like a whole season of like, you should hire me, you should hire me, you should hire me. And that season he let me just like, he's like, well, if you want to just go like film this like contest and we could like put it on our blog or something. I'm like, cool, perfect. And then the next year he's like, all right, like I'll give you a job. Like we'll make a job for you. And so I got hired, I think at like $10 an hour to do any media I wanted to do at Brighton. And Jared gave me the keys to the castle. And he didn't really care. And like Instagram was like just becoming a thing then. Like social media like wasn't really a thing. And he let me do whatever I wanted. And I'm like, cool, we're making series. Like we're doing this, we're doing that. Like convinced him to like hire other filmers. Like we had like Amanda on for a bit of time, and we ended up getting like some photographers, and like I made a series with Yobi highlighting like local riders. And then I eventually like reached out to Pat Bridges, who I had met really briefly from attending a Miss Super Park with my friends, and was like, hey, like I'm working for Brighton, like would you want to like do a series with us? And so we made the Blank Was Here series where I highlighted different crews that came through Brighton. And that's really like where I cut my teeth. And it was so sick because since I was working at Brighton, and we're making like official stuff for them, I had the world's best excuse to film with people, with good athletes, you know? And I started filming with just like the Brighton Park crew, which are rippers and they're so dope. And once I got a little bit better and made these bigger series, you know, then I could go up to whoever and be like, hey, I work for Brighton, I'm making this thing, let's film. And they would be down. And I wouldn't have had the confidence probably to approach these people otherwise, and I wouldn't have had a reason to film with them. So it like gave me a reason to film with good snowboarders as well as like make these industry connections. And Brighton just opened the world for me.
Incredible. Where'd you go from there?
From there, my next big gig was in my 5-year plan. It was filming at High Cascade. And it was a really, really big deal to me to be the first girl on the AV team. And I knew I'd like gone to High Cascade as a camper when I was younger, and I had kind of like floated around camp. I think like one summer I interned for Solomon, and so I was like up there all the time, and I knew the vibe. And I knew it was like really cliquey. And I knew that I was heading into the Lion's Den, going into the AV club. But I had to try because at that time, like filming for camp was this like crazy prestigious thing. It was like, oh, if you get a job filming for camp, then you're going to get hired by a brand the next year. Like it was this like rite of passage that you almost had to go through to like make it as a filmer in snowboarding. And I knew I had to do it, even though I knew it was gonna suck for me.
Plus, it was on your business plan.
It was on the business plan.
It was on my 5-year plan. I had to do it.
Well, you look at it too, you have like Carlino went on to do great things. Justin Meyer went on to do Videograss. Tanner Pendleton went on to make Landline. Harry,
yeah, like
Mark Dangler, you know, it's just like basically anybody that had that job kind of went on to do major projects.
Yeah.
Previous, you know, so
yeah.
And continue.
No, but I'm so glad I did it because it did open a lot of doors for me, and I learned a lot. And just even being able to film year round, like my filming got better, and I learned a lot. But that's really where like the bumps in the road started to like come in pretty heavily. And you know, how do I say it? the culture at that time, this was like 2012, 2013, it was not evolved yet to be accepting of chicks. And, you know, this was still a time where in the session recaps, you could go a whole summer without a single chick getting a shot in a session recap. Like, it was like a big deal if one girl got one shot in one session recap. And I think coming into the AV department, like there was, and this is me just guessing because I don't know what people's mindset is, but to me it seemed like, you know, there was such prestige around this job that only dudes had done up until this point that, you know, maybe like subconsciously, like a girl coming in and doing the same thing that these guys were like building their ego off of, like made them feel weird. And, you know, and also like, you know, maybe they just like didn't like me. Like, I can be super fucking annoying. Like, not everybody has to like me. That's fine. But the rejection that I was met with at camp was like, I was like straight up have like PTSD from that shit. Like, you know, my first year, I worked at camp for 2 summers, and my first year working there, like I didn't unpack my bags the entire summer. Like I was almost just leaving the entire summer. And the bullying and harassment that I had to deal with was like insane. It was insane, you know, and like one of the worst things that happened there was like we all had this group workspace kind of in the basement of the AV house, and I didn't go down there very much because where all the guys were, and it was like pretty hostile environment. But I went down there one day after not being down there for a little bit, and somebody had ripped out pages from like gnarly porno magazines and taped them all around over my desk. It was just like gnarly targeted hazing. And that really fucking sucked. That really, really sucked. And it was just kind of like a concentration of the energy that I was given throughout the rest of the world. You know, like it was hard being a chick in such a male-dominated space. And like everywhere I would go, even at Brighton, every day somebody would be like, oh, that's a big camera for a girl. Or like hear people saying like, oh, she's just filming because she like wants to get close to the guys, or like, you know, just shit like that. And it's just like, I was able to like deal with it and take it in stride in my day-to-day life. But at camp, it was so concentrated. It like really broke me.
You're in such a bubble up there. It's so hard to like see outside of that.
Yeah.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
It made you mentally tough though. Can you say with all honesty that the mental toughness you developed from just surviving that summer has set you up for being able to handle the shit beyond?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. And
doesn't
honestly,
excuse it at all, but
no. And you know, and I have like made amends with some of the people, and that's great. And it's, I mean, really like the silver lining of like going through that was realizing that like the people who had my back, like had my back, and like that, like I did, like despite all of like the hate and negativity over here, like I did have a community that like really supported me. And like, dude, like Johnny O'Connor and Cole Taco, they lived in the AV house with the guys, and I was like next door. Those two had my back so fucking hard. Like the day that I came down and saw that shit on my desk, like Cole had like put his computer and things all over the desk to like try and like hide it so I wouldn't see. And like I had people in my corner that like really had my back. And I don't know, I think it just made me realize that like, you know, just lean into the love, fuck the bullshit, you know, it's all you can do. But yeah, and I know that the negative things that I've had to deal with, even like little comments here and there for forever, or, you know, not being invited to shoot things that I wanted to shoot or whatever, and feeling like maybe it was because I was a girl or who I am. Those things have all, like, honestly been pretty small compared to like what a lot of other women deal with and have dealt with in this industry. Like the shit that like Jess and Des and Laura like have all had to deal with or like is insane. But I do think that was like a small piece of the puzzle also of me like wanting to make Wayward, because it's like their story was my story. I was behind the lens and they were in front of it, but like we were all getting shit on. We were all getting harassed. And like every single girl that I know that was involved in the snowboard industry from 2005 to 2015 has a story gnarlier than mine. And, you know, we were all like in it together. But I don't know. It's fine. We moved past it.
No, it's good. It's good for I think it's really good for like dudes to hear, because you think about it the other way. If I went into some female-dominated sport and everything I did was belittled and everybody like was leaving these weird condescending remarks and cutting you down and like just it would suck ass. Like, and it's really good, you know, because our lens is different. Our experience is different. You know, and I think it's really good to put awareness around that for dudes too, you know, for us to hear that. And thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. No,
and you're not the kind of person that you need to tiptoe around and like be careful. Don't let a bad word slip out, or don't let, you know, like it's just human relations. Like for people not to just support the other person next to them. Like I never understand. And I haven't done a professional role like that. And I was probably having a baby about that summer. So I checked out of summer camp for a little while. I still haven't been back in a while, but that is just heartbreaking to hear.
We live and we learn, and despite all that, like, I learned a lot from camp, and I gained a lot of really great relationships, and, you know, and at the end of that year, I think because of the experience of working at camp, I got a call from Bill Enos, who was the U.S. slopestyle team coach, and he asked me to come be a filmer for the slopestyle team. Starting right at the end of camp, we were going to Australia. And so it went from this like really hard place to immediately just like a totally new leaf, new vibe. And, you know, was able to like reap the benefits and use what I had learned at camp in a really fun environment.
I love Bill. And
Legend.
Yeah, and like that just shows you people are watching, even if you're in a tight circle with a bunch of disrespectful assholes. Like people are watching how you deal with it, and people like Bill see that, and so yeah, you hold your head high.
Yeah,
you do.
Well said, Barrett. What did the job at the U.S. team look like?
Well, it was really fun for a minute. So Bill had this great idea where he was like, this was also kind of the era where contest kids got a lot of shit. And there was a huge like cultural divide between the contest kids and the video part kids. And he wanted to bridge that gap. And he was just like, I just want people to see like how sick these kids are and like their personalities. And like, I just basically want you to make like fun edits of them. And I'm like, sign me up. You know, it was the sickest team ever too. You know, there's like Chaz Goldemond and Sage and Red and like a young Brandon Davis and Nick Baden, I think. And there's like Haley Langland and, oh God, I don't know. Just a team of amazing young athletes, Lion Farrell. And so I just got to travel around with them and just make like fun edits that like they didn't really have the opportunity before because they're always just training to like show the world like who they are as people and just like have a fun edit. And it was a really sick job, and unfortunately it only lasted like 6 months or so because Bill ended up retiring. And when he retired, the team kind of didn't get who was running the team then, like, didn't understand his vision. And so they were like, no, like, we don't need you to make that like fun stuff. We just need you to like stand on the knuckle of this jump and shoot like review footage all day. And I'm like, that's not really what I signed up for. Like, this isn't really my shit. And, you know, right at that time when that shift was happening, I got a call from Pat Bridges. Woo! And my life was never the same.
Okay, picture this. One day you're chasing POW, the next street skating in a city you don't even live in. Whatever your vibe is, chill, bold, classic, wild, Cole makes headwear that adapts because style's not a fixed thing. Cole Headwear. However many hats you wear, make them Cole. And I'm also currently wearing a bonnet provided by Cole Headwear. Let me tell you, this thing is clean. So check out coleheadwear.com and remember, however many hats you wear, make them Cole.
Okay, boarders, we're here to talk about Vans. Vans has been holding it down in snowboarding for over 3 decades, and they keep coming with solid gear for all types of riders. Right now, the Luna Pro is one of the standouts in the women's boot line this season. It's got a skate-inspired look, a hybrid lacing system that mixes BOA and traditional laces, and the Smart Wool liner to keep things warm and dry. The Pop Cush insole adds comfort and impact protection for those long days on snow. It's a boot that feels right wherever you ride, whether it's park laps, POW days, or just cruising with friends. Get out to your local shop and check out the Luna Pro and the rest of the Vans 25-26 lineup.
The Snowboarder Mag era of Mia Lambson. That's when...
My peak.
That's when... No, I'm just saying. Those are glorious times with an all-star crew. You had T-Bird there at the time. You had Clavin over there. It was Mary in the mix at that time.
Yeah. Oh my God. We had the best crew ever. It was like Bridges, Mary, T-Bird, Clavin, Cavan.
Yeah. Elite crew.
Oh my gosh. Like Cole Taylor was working with us a bunch too. It was just, dude, best time of my life. Best years of my life.
All right. We're going to jump right into an absolute barn burner of a question from T-Bird. Here we go.
What up, Bombhole crew? T-Bird here. Mia, so hyped you're in the booth. I'm going to keep my question short, sweet, and for the people. Mia Lambson, please give us your best Mark Clavin story. Love y'all. Later.
Oh my God, there's so many. I need to make a whole podcast of just Clavin stories.
You could do a documentary on him after your Victoria one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Finding Clavin.
2 unicorns.
Dude, so when Clavin showed up, he I'd already been working for the mag for a couple years, and we had our crew, you know, like we were family. And then Clavin shows up, and he's just this random guy from Ohio who shot photos of baseball, was kind of into snowboarding. We were just I was really skeptical. And I was like, who's this fucking guy? And then, so his first trip with us was this spring that we had to go. The team was in Mammoth for a month. We were staying at the Mammoth Mountain Inn for a month. We were doing the blackboard test, Holy Bully, Super Park, back to back to back. And I really wasn't so sure about him at first. And then we had to haze him. But not high cascade hazing, but fun hazing. And so we literally, there was one day, it was a down day or something. And I don't know, I think maybe T-Bird, oh God, and Yosh. Oh my God, how did I forget? Yeah. Yosh was on our squad, dude. Best person ever. But I think either T-Bird or Yosh, dared him to eat a bunch of weed gummies or something. I think he ate 200 milligrams of weed gummies. And we're sitting in the parking lot. And then I also don't know why this happened, but at some point he started putting on all the clothes that he brought on at once. He had 10 pairs of pants and 5 jackets and it was Marshmallow Man. And T-Bird tricked him into going into the garage of the Mammoth Mountain Inn when there was a bear in there, and Clavin had like 200 milligrams. And he honestly took it like a champ. And he just he took our hazing so well. And it was just from that moment on, I'm like, all right, you proved yourself, you're in. And now Clavin is one of my best friends, and I love and adore him so much. But yeah.
Well, speaking of Clavin, we actually have a question from Clavin around that time period as well. Here we go.
What's up, Mia? How's it going, Bombhole? I was told I have to make an appropriate guest question this time, so I will simply ask, Mia, what time were you going to sleep back in the day when you were editing all the Superpark videos that had to come out every single day of Superpark and you still had to shoot on hill? Thank you very much. Have a good episode.
Love that guy. That's a great question. So, dude, Bridges has chilled out so much in the last decade. But he used to run like a tight ship. And there was a couple years where either at Superpark or he would send me and Mary out to X Games, and it's you're making a daily recap. And it was just me. So I would be on hill filming all day long, come home, ingest all of my footage, and then start the edit at 10 p.m. And if I was lucky, I would get it done at 4 or 5, sleep for a couple hours, wake up at 8, go back on hill, and do that for 3 or 4 days in a row. And it was so gnarly, but it was just how it was. You had to get shit done. There's a schedule. And honestly, it was gnarly, but it really kind of forged me in fire now. Every job now, I'm oh, this is mellow.
Sick.
Yeah, did they have night events then too?
At X, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, at
it's
X,
not over
for
till
sure.
10 at night.
Yeah.
Well, and then they had the sunset shoots at Superpark, right? And you're not getting done.
Or sunrise.
And then the sunrise just
yeah,
even gnarlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. Yeah. I mean, there was some years where, Cole or Kevin or somebody would be editing, and so I would just have to shoot and log. But yeah, there's a lot of sleep left on the table.
Total sidebar Clavin story, but some of my favorite memories of Clavin are him jumping in on the rail jams with an energy drink helmet and just dying on the setups.
The footage, the amount of footage that I have of that man eating shit, anytime, dude, when we were filming beta, he would literally put on Brock or whoever's Red Bull helmet and try and hit the shit that they were hitting. And I'm like, Clavin, these are elite athletes. What are you doing? I have so many clips of him eating so much shit. Actually, my favorite clip of him ever, have you seen the Pond Skim Slam?
Probably, but I refresh my memory.
So I can pull it up really quick because there's something wrong with the file in my phone with the date. So no matter how many photos I take, it's always the most recent one.
No way. Yeah, let's see this, baby.
And it's just give it a nice little.
Yeah. If anybody,
we might have to put this up.
Oh,
on the
is this
screen.
at in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Yeah, Seven Springs. Seven Springs. Oh God, that was violent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the clip for the viewers.
Legendary Clavin moment. I was also talking to Bridges. He brought up a story when you guys went to West Virginia to go snowboarding.
Oh yeah,
love to hear that story.
Yeah, dude, Bridges has taken me some fun ass places. So I can't remember what year this was, but it was I think the last year that Nobody was a thing. And we went out with the Nobody crew to make an edit it was a mid-Atlantic edit. And so we did it partially at Seven Springs and then drove down to a little resort in West Virginia. And I wish I could remember the name, but it was so insane. So it was Colin Wilson, Brady Lem. Oh God. I can't remember who all was there, but just a sick crew of people like Ralph. And we show up to this tiny little resort. I think there was one lift, tiny little resort. And they're so excited that we're there. Like, no, like this is like a big deal. Like Snowboarder Mag and Brighton are here, even though it was just like us little like motley crew. And they were so stoked that the ski patrollers greeted us. Also, the ski patrollers were in full denim, just to set the vibe. Yeah. And they greeted us with bottles of their homemade moonshine to welcome us to West Virginia. And I'm like, this is the most perfect West Virginia experience I could ever imagine.
That's incredible. Did you chug any of the moonshine? What was that like?
I'm sure we did. I'm sure it was gnarly.
Yeah. It's like pure alcohol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pure gasoline. Elite crew. And then at what point did you start getting involved with making the feature films that Snowboarder Mag made?
Yeah, so I think the first year that I was working for them, so I was always kind of on like the event coverage and social media video kind of like angle of it. But the first year I worked for Snowboarder was the year that they were filming SFD. And Bridges actually made my dreams come true. And he had heard how I used to be obsessed with Lucas Magoon, who was a good friend of his. And Lucas was filming for SFD. And so Bridges was like, this will be hilarious to send Mia down there. And so he sent me and Huggy down to Big Bear. And it was the winter that like they had like a crazy storm and we got like snowed in. So I ended up spending like 10 days or 2 weeks or something just hanging out with Lucas every day, shooting, and shot a good amount of his part for SFD. And that was like my first, I had like given some random clips here and there to like movies, but that was like my first like significant like footage in a big film. And then, you know, a little few clips here and there for Pepper. And then Beta was the first project that it was like, I was finally off of event coverage and social media duty. And I was like, my job was movie crew. And that was such a big step.
And you were with like kids, right? Beta, at the time I remember it was like, these are the next kids. And it was Gabe Ferg and Benny and I don't even remember who else, but I remember like, you were probably like a babysitter on that crew a little bit, right?
A little bit. Yeah, it was like, Benny, Gabe Ferg, Brandon Davis, Reed, Krugs, Nick Baden. Like, I'm sure I'm missing a few, but
Big Air.
Yeah.
Had some clips.
And I kind of so we had like 3 crews, and so like Tyler Orton was making the film, and he was like on like a crew, and he was with like Jer and like I think Gabe a lot, and like I don't know, more like the backcountry crew. And then Derek was kind of on like street crew, and I was with the contest kids because a lot of these kids in the film were on the US team, and they were like competing and, you know, doing it. So I was kind of like following them around while they were like doing their contest things. And then like in between contest days, I would try and be like, yo guys, we gotta go get clips. Like it's like mid-January, none of you have clips. Like we gotta go do something. And, you know, we really didn't get much the first half of the year. And it was just really hard. Like, I think trying to get them footage while they were also doing the contest thing. And it was their first year really filming for a movie too. So I don't think they really like understood like, no, if you want like a video part that you're proud of, like you got to hit the streets every day. Like you got to like do it. And I think they're just kind of like, well, yeah, I just did a contest yesterday. Like I'm going to chill. And I'm like, no, like we got clock's ticking. Like we got to go. So yeah, it was really fun hanging out with those guys though. And at the end of the season, we all did like a big trip to Finland and stayed out there for a couple of weeks, and with Eastone too.
He was with us the week before, and then he's like, I'm staying. And then he stayed. So he had already done like 10 days with us, and then he stayed and linked with you guys, I remember.
Yeah, and then I think he might have even actually stayed longer, because I stayed after most of the crew left to shoot with Benny and Reed because they both got injured that year and like didn't have a big stack. So we stayed like an extra week too to get them more footage for their part. And yeah, got such good shit. And I loved hanging out with those guys. Like they were so funny and little shitheads for sure. Like I think at one point I like had like a full freak out moment because it was like 1 a.m. We had just flown into Helsinki and like I was the one with the rental van and I was the one driving and we had like a 5-hour drive to our hotel. And you know, like the roads in Finland, like I can't even tell you how many speeding tickets I got there. Like, so I probably can't ever go back to Finland. But, you know, the roads are so like narrow, windy, like you gotta go so slow. And the boys are just crushing beers in the van. And then so they had to pee and they were having me stop to pee like every like 20 minutes. And I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, I'm so tired. You guys are being nuts back there. And so like eventually I like freaked out and I'm like, you're peeing in the bottle. Like, you're peeing in the bottle, you're not peeing. Like, I'm not stopping this van. Like,
so you were the babysitter. Sounds
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay, got a hard-hitting film question. Part 1. Favorite clip you've ever filmed?
Let me think about this for a second.
Was it a Mark Clavin clip?
It probably was a Mark Clavin clip, to be honest. I don't even know if I have an answer for that because there's like different like categories of clip that to me are like apples and oranges, like you can't compare. I've been standing on the knuckle of a jump while somebody's doing like world's first 18 over my head. And like that is like just the most like incredible surreal thing ever. But then there's also like one of like Benny's clips, I think it might have been his ender in beta, where it's like this crazy long, like triple
the
rail,
big red rail,
crazy. It wasn't even red one, or maybe it was red, but it was like 4 rails in one.
Okay.
It was like this crazy, you know, and like knowing how much he wanted that and like how much he needed that for his part being hurt all year. And like that clip is like fucked up. And like that was just so sick. And then, you know, obviously like anything I've filmed with Gooner like is just dream come true, you know.
Yeah.
So there's just I can't compare. I can't give you an answer.
All right, part 2 of my question. And every filmer has this, including myself. It's part of the game. Do you have a memory of ever botching a shot that sticks out?
Don't remind me.
Sorry to put you on blast, PTSD.
Don't remind me. Oh my gosh. No. So, I mean, all the fucking time. all the time. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes, you know, and it's always like, dude, I feel like the most common thing ever, and it's just Murphy's Law, is like when your memory card or your last battery is right on its very edge and you're like, come on. And then they finally land it and halfway through the clip, your camera dies and you're just like, well, I'm gonna go jump off a bridge now. Like, sorry, like, I don't know. Oh God. Honestly, the craziest one though is probably also filming for beta. Like, Benny did this, like, he hit this rail. It was like a down rail that went under this like roof awning that he had to like duck under the awning while he was on the rail. And it was just me filming it, but I had set up 2 cameras. And the better angle of it when we had like gotten out and we're putting our shit away and I was like at the car and I was like getting the cards out. I put it on the dashboard of the car and it slid into the air vent of the rental truck. And I never got it back. So thankfully I had 2 angles of that, but like that was quite a bummer.
Pretty dope move.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, don't ever put your memory cards on a dashboard.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Joy doesn't wait, and neither should you. Icon Pass unlocks a full season of turns, trips, and memories you'll ride on all year.
Drop in on over 60 unique destinations worldwide with more park laps, more POW mornings, more après nights. Icon Pass delivers more joy all season long.
Starting at $349 adult, claim your pass today for as low as $0 down and 0% APR with a payment plan. Terms apply.
Your best days on snow don't happen by accident. Line them up today with Icon Pass.
Get your Icon Pass at iconpass.com. That's iconpass.com.
Over the past 13 years, Patagonia's Pow Slayer series has earned a near mythical status among those seeking the steepest, deepest powder in the biggest mountains. These are the ones who let their tracks do the talking, who start before sunrise and leave behind lines as bold as they are nameless. The new Pow Slayer Freeride Kit is built for those riders.
All right, whether you're carving fresh powder or just heading out for your first runs of the season, the right gear makes all the difference. That's where Shady Rays snow goggles come in. They've got the perfect goggles to get you started on the mountain, everything you need in one go without the hassle. And if you're the type who likes to customize your setup, they've got you covered there too. From lens swaps to strap options, you can build your own look and ride in your own style. And here's the best part. If your goggles take a hit, you're covered from day one with broken protection. And if they're just not the right fit, free 30-day returns make it easy to swap or send them back. So gear up with premium goggles built for the mountain with style and protection you need at a price that keeps it all within reach. So at the Bomb Hole, we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com, use promo code BOMBHOLE for 30% off goggles and polarized sunglasses. Be confident anywhere under the sun with Shady Rays, the eyewear that has your back.
So you're working at Snowboarder. You did a bunch of films with them. What happened after that?
So Snowboarder was in kind of like a weird place for a while where like it had been bought and sold. And Bridges was trying to keep the lights on and keep the show running. And, eventually it got bought like the winter of 2019, 2020, the mag got bought by like Men's Journal or something. And it basically, the writing was on the wall that like, it wasn't going to be the same. People were getting laid off left and right. And it was just kind of like, all right, it's like kind of time to leave. So, that winter, I left to just try and do some freelance stuff and, work with other athletes. And, I think I was supposed to go film like a Olympic test event in China, like February 2020. And it was like right before that like things started getting really weird. And like, I just had like a hard season, things just like weren't working out. It was just already kind of like a shitty season, and then COVID hit and everything just like got canceled. All of my jobs, everything. And I kind of felt like I had been swimming upstream and like fighting so hard for like a place, I didn't feel that way at Snowboarder, but I didn't feel like I had a place in the industry outside of Snowboarder, which was like my family and my safe place. I still felt like it was like a really hard fight to get work that I was passionate about and that could pay my bills. And then when COVID hit and I had like lost all my potential jobs, I just like hit this point where I'm just like, all right, maybe this is a good place to exit. I've been fighting really hard and putting zero money in savings for like a decade now. Like maybe I'm good on this. And so, during COVID, it actually, I just needed to like make money and I didn't know how long things were going to last or like what was going to happen. So I had always joked with Trevor about every time we'd go to Home Depot and be like, I hear this place has great benefits. Like, this is a nice place to work. COVID hits, lose all my jobs. And, Trevor also got furloughed. He was working at Burton at the time. And so he started doing like, he made Blue Collar Boys with Alex Andrews or doing like construction projects basically. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm a blue collar girl. I'm going to go get that job at Home Depot. So me and Nirvana, we both got jobs in like the merchandising department at Home Depot. And that was right when you started putting out bomb holes and we would share pod and each put an ear pod in and be like in different aisles listening to the bomb hole. Like listening to all these podcasts and like covering it up when our like bosses would come by, and like it was just such a funny, just so different. I think I only lasted like a few months there. I had to be there at like 5 a.m. So I was like, definitely started like sleeping in my car and like taking my walkie-talkie with me in case somebody needed me. But I'm like out in the parking lot sleeping. I was over it. So I'm like, all right, this isn't sustainable. Like, what else can I do? And I'd always been into like home design, interior design. My sister is a really accomplished interior designer, and so it was always kind of like on my periphery. And I was just like, you know what? I think this would be a great time to just start like selling all this cool vintage shit that I'm always finding, and like, you know, go to estate sales and redo, you know, refurbish vintage furniture, and just like totally shifted directions. So I sold all my camera gear and started this little business called Lost in Space, where I sold vintage home goods stuff, and actually got my first big job was decorating the original bomb hole office.
Oh yeah. Happy client. You killed. I still got the original desk that you got that I had Trevor Andrew painted. Original chairs. You go in Lost in Space, decorate a lot of the decor in here. And also personally my house as well at the time.
Yeah.
She's got an eye. She does.
You know, I try. And it was super fun. And it was honestly really invigorating for me to like, it was really the first time in my life that I thought about a different career path since I was like 15. And I'm glad I took the break because I think it just like reset my mind and my focus. And like, I didn't film, you know, winter 21, 22. Like I didn't do anything snowboarding. I don't even think I owned a camera at that point. Like I was over it. And by the time that next spring came around, I was like kind of missing it, but I didn't see any opportunities or like viability still in snowboarding. So I'm like, all right, like maybe I like expand my horizons. And I had been, you know, lucky enough to make friends with some filmmakers out who have made really successful careers outside of snowboarding and in like the general movie, TV industry. And like Jerry Ricciotti was a good friend that I made. And he had been the DP at Vice News Tonight for a few years. He'd done a bunch of surf projects. Like he's just like killing it. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, like you need to just start working in like big production, like television commercial production. Like that's where the money is. And so I started just like applying for PA jobs on like TV shows and stuff. There's like a crazy amount of TV shows that are filmed around Salt Lake. And so I started like PAing and then started to like, I don't know, get into experiment with like different roles on set and like bigger atmospheres, and eventually landed working for a season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Respect.
Yep. And that was a pretty big deal. And that was, you know, I wasn't like shooting or anything. Like I got on with just being a PA, but the way that production works is it's like you're on like really small crews. So there's like a producer, 2 filmers, an audio guy, an AC, which is an assistant camera, and a PA. And so I had to like, I learned so much on that job because I had to do all these different roles. And there's also like a different language in like proper like actual filmmaking outside of snowboarding. There's like a literal language that you have to learn. And, you know, just different like unwritten rules and way of going about things that like normally you would learn in film school. And I just learned it on the set of Housewives. And, you know, so we'd be going around and I'm like lighting all the places and like helping the AC, like set up the cameras, like helping do this, do that, you know, like whatever. I'm just kind of like the everything guy. And it was such a crazy learning experience. And then, you know, that's a pretty notorious show. So after that, then it was like, oh, it's pretty easy for me to like get hired on, you know, any big commercial television, whatever shoot. And I'm so thankful for that time in my life where I took that break from snowboarding and kind of like let myself explore different avenues of filmmaking and stuff, because it really expanded my career and made it so it's like filming is like viable for me now. If I was only doing snowboarding now, I still probably wouldn't be able to pay my bills. And then, you know, the interior design stuff was cool because that I hit this point where I'm like, okay, well, you know, like now I have this like legit production experience. I still really love like interior design and decorating. Like maybe these two things can live together. And my wonderful friend, Colleen Conroy, she had a good working relationship producing with Hollister. And so she got me on some Hollister shoots doing like set design and props and stuff, and then kind of created another like sect of a career for me doing, you know, like set design stuff and combining my passions.
I love it. I'd like to back up to Real Housewives. I have a few questions.
I do too.
Yes. Oh, Barrett, you go first.
Yeah. I just wondered if there was any like the environment at like summer snowboard camp was pretty shitty. Did you feel there was any downside to being a female in that environment, filming with that crew?
Not at all. No, not at all. I don't know if this is like common in other, I don't know, in television production in general or not, but on that crew, it's like most of the producers were women. Like the producer, the head honcho on our crew was a chick. You know, all of our subjects are women. The head, like the EP, like head producers were women. And for me and for our working crew, like we worked our asses off. Like it's like 12 to 15 hour days, 5 to 6 days a week for 3 to 5 months. Like it's a ton of work. And like, that is more like what would make you cry at the end of the day more than like, you know, any negative stuff. Like the ladies in the show were having their own experience.
That's I'm curious, what percentage of it is like scripted? Is it authentic?
It's not scripted. There's more like the producers are there to like nudge.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the reality show Unreal or the show about reality shows?
No.
I know all about that role now from watching that show. But
and I didn't know anything about reality TV before going on there because I'm like, I don't know, this seems totally scripted. And there are parts that script, like when you see two people in a restaurant arguing or having a conversation, there's a whole camera crew around them and sound and lights and all this stuff, and they're not just like casually in a restaurant. Like they booked out that restaurant. They told the ladies, you're calling her and telling her that you're going to lunch at this place at this time because we have the restaurant booked out. And then, you know, we'll have extra crew or whoever be like the people in the restaurant. Like I was in the back of many of those scenes as like the random people in the restaurant just to like fill a seat, you know. It's like those parts like aren't real. And a lot of the drama is like nudged by producers. But the craziest thing is like you see, because I worked on season 2 of Salt Lake, so it was like still like kind of new, and you could see in real time these women like lose touch with reality. They're like drinking the Kool-Aid, and like some of them you could see they remember that this is a show. These aren't like their real friends. You know, they know that they have to like play a part, but some of these women just totally drink the Kool-Aid and just get so lost in it and forget that this drama is manufactured for television, and they like truly believe it, and like that's like their truth.
That's insane.
Yeah, but don't we all do that in snowboarding to an extent too?
Yeah.
Like we drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got to step out of it once in a while, but some people never do step out of it.
Yeah.
What do you prefer, standing in an icy field, -20, watching somebody try a king crawl 400 times, or being on the set of a reality show? Be honest.
Do they land the trick?
No, they lost the battle. They lost the battle.
Reality TV show every time.
All right. I mean, you've worked on a ton of non-snowboard projects. Which one stands out to you? Which one has the most near and dear place in your heart?
Oh my gosh, that's hard to say. I honestly can't even think of them all right now.
I'll rip through. We got Vice, the tornado chasing piece. You got you and Trev going in a van by 76 gas stations for Vice. You got Real Housewives. You got some Food Network. You got Hollister. You got some Skull Candy stuff. You got some crazy Red Bull projects, some mountain bike projects.
Oh, yeah. Well, for sure, the 76 Vice thing, that was crazy. So this is something that, Jerry Ricciardi hooked up, Vice was doing a collab with 76 gas stations, and they were casting a couple to live in this tiny little 80s Japanese van for a month and drive it from LA to Seattle and film yourself, document yourselves, doing whatever. And Jerry was like, you guys would be great for this. Can I put your name in? And I'm like, Trev, can you get a month off work? And he's like, I'll figure it out. And so we got casted for it, and it was crazy. Dude, we had the Vice credit card, and they were basically just do whatever. and we had a free gas card from 76 and this insane little 80s Japanese van and a high ace. And we literally we did everything, dude. We went we stopped in Napa Valley and went on a hot air balloon. We went dude, I don't know, so much shit. We went all around. We actually went past Seattle up to Orcas Island and came back down, and we got engaged on that trip, and it was just a once in a lifetime really crazy opportunity.
And you guys just filmed all with a GoPro or something, right?
Dude, I just had a little mirrorless camera and a GoPro, and we were just film ourselves doing random shit. And at the end of it, they were supposed to be full episodes, and so we filmed so much shit. And dude, we went to a psychic in San Francisco, and just all of this random shit. We're this will be great for the episodes. And then at the end of the day, the scope of the project kind of changed, and they ended up being these 30-second little bits. And I'm like, dude, you guys just wasted so much money on this, because we were blowing the budget on these big things, but they didn't care. So
what did the psychic say?
Said that we were going to get married and have 2 sons. So one part of that's true. I don't know.
Whoa.
Did she say you're going to have them all at once?
Oh,
are there twins in your family?
I don't know, but I'm kind of manifesting it. I would like to have 2 kids, but I want to just, knock it out.
Yeah, a little 2-for-1 deal,
Yeah,
a little BOGO.
exactly.
Buy one, get one free type of deal. That's sweet. Built-in buddy as well. That's fantastic. Do you think your 2 sons are going to be good at golf or snowboarders?
I hope they're good at golf. There's so much more money in
There's
golf.
so much more money. Oh, you got 70th place? Here's $45,000.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Smart. I think they'll be good at golf. Trev told me that you recently just did something with Red Bull where you're filming some NFL players. I need to hear about this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I think by the time this episode comes out, I can talk about it. But it's, so I have to give props to Ryan Taylor. He's hired me for some really cool opportunities, all the cool ass random Red Bull shit that I've done. Ryan has hooked up, and so Red Bull is sponsoring. And we might have to cut that. I don't know. I'll get clearance on this before, but Red Bull is sponsoring Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Woo.
And so I got to do a quick little like 48-hour trip to Detroit last week to film some promo stuff with him. And yeah, it was really cool. And just, I don't know, it's really sick to film stuff like that outside of snowboarding. Just like mix it up and like, I don't know, just like random, like whenever would I film a football? Like I don't even watch football. Would I film it, you know?
Did you meet his dad?
No, I
his
didn't.
dad's like, he used to be a weightlifter. That's cool. Those guys are beasts though, huh?
Yeah. Really, really cool. Super nice. And I don't know, it's cool to be in those like different environments. And like last year, Ryan was working on some of the, Red Bull has this series. It's the F1 Unserious Race Series. And where they have F1 drivers like racing like just weird cars and stuff. It's super fun. And he hired me on for a couple of those. So I got to, film like Max Verstappen racing a hovercraft in Las Vegas and like just like random shit like that. Yeah, super fun.
So this past winter, I know you worked on a Warren Miller segment and you were the main person on the project. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So Robin Van Gyn hooked me up actually with two massive projects that I got to work on this year, and one of them being producing a Warren Miller segment. So every year, Warren Miller kind of their films these days are more like short stories and segments, all with like a theme, and their theme this year is community, and so they wanted to do a segment on R&D, and Robin put my name in to help produce and direct that. And so when they hit me up, I was like, oh my God, Warren Miller's hitting me up. This is insane. Like, it's kind of like the ultimate, like that's like the one thing people who don't ski or snowboard, who don't understand this world at all, you say Warren Miller and they get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, it felt really cool to get that invite. And it was really cool because it kind of let me like, the guys at Warren Miller, so awesome. And they're very aware that like, in the past, the brand of Warren Miller maybe hasn't done the best job of like highlighting women, and so they're really trying to like make up for that now. And they wanted to do a segment on R&D and have it be led by a female voice and perspective. So they really like gave me so much freedom, and from kind of like writing out a rough of the storyline of what I thought it would be going into it, and help selecting the athletes that we were gonna highlight, and went to R&D and I shot it with Tim Manning and Alex. I don't remember his last name, but he's like a really sick drone FPV filmer from Canada, and it was really cool working next to Tim too. He's like legend. And yeah, and I was able to stay a part of the process through all summer. We just wrapped the segment like a week or two ago. And, I had a lot of voice in creative on the backside and editing. And it was just a really fulfilling project.
Were you able to take those skills that you used in the conventional TV shows and the kind of more, I guess, mainstream part of like the filmmaking business, TV business, and like apply that now back to snowboarding?
1,000,000%. It's crazy. Like when you learn how to do something like filming in a sport like this, you don't realize how loose it is until you like get out into the real world, and like how we do things in snowboarding is like so loose. And there's a reason why like in legit film production industry they do things the way they do. And I mean certainly like working on all these projects outside of snowboarding like forced me to like get more pro at my shit, like have more of a system and just like learn the language, learn the process, like, learn everything that goes into making something that is bigger and better and just like can resonate with audiences beyond the core snowboard community. Just as well as like technical shit you know, like
what does that look like? To me, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about like writing a proper script and having a proper shot list. And like, what specifically are the skills that you learned?
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a part of it for sure. Like, I think just like planning in general, like in the real world, you don't go into a shoot basically without every single thing planned. You know, documentaries and action is like a little bit harder because you can't plan everything that people are going to say, right? But you plan as much as you can. And you shoot accordingly. And, you know, even just like technical aspects of like, all right, like making sure all cameras that are going to be shooting this thing are like formatted exactly the same, like going through like double checking, triple checking stuff, like having like a super cut and dry, clear process for media on the back end. So you don't lose shots and you have backups for everything. Just so much more like organization, I would say, is the biggest thing. Because when you start to do bigger, more serious projects that involve a lot more footage and a lot more complex storytelling, like if you are not super organized and on top of your shit, you're going to die. Like there's no way. And so there's a reason why the film industry does things the way that it does, even though it might be a little overkill for our world sometimes.
What about the process of documentary making, asking questions to get good storyline answers? There's an art to that, I'd imagine, right?
Oh, yeah. And honestly, that's something for making this documentary, I probably learned the most from just observing on Real Housewives. Because, you know, in the moment, there are producers kind of like prompting a little or whatever behind the scenes. But one of the things that I helped work on with that show was like, you know, like little like confessionals where they're talking. So those are all recorded after the show. They go back and then there's like a big time producer on the screen interviewing them and trying to get them to say these specific bites to stitch their storyline together. And it's crazy. Like if you ask a question in a slightly different way or tone or whatever, you're going to get a different answer. And I'm still have so much to learn with that. But like, I do think that was the first time I like really thought about like that aspect of it, of like the interviewing and stuff and eliciting the story that you want to tell out of someone. And certainly now after like 35 interviews this last year, I'm probably better at it.
I think that I came in as one of your final interviews, and you definitely were eliciting stories that you wanted to tell. And you did a good job. I mean, and you had been through all those other interviews to like weave that story together, and I can't wait to see how it comes out. Although I kind of want to redo my interview.
I actually did like a pre-interview with Barrett before we started shooting like 2 years ago because I like needed some content for like a sizzle, and so I came out and stayed with them at their house for a couple days. And do you think that your final actual real interview was better than your first interview?
I don't know. I blacked out after I talked, but we were at the Woodward skate park, and what was going on outside? Snow removal or something. There was some like major noise, traffic, trucks,
highway.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think because just even after getting through a whole season and it's harder to sit and talk about snowboarding in the summer than if you've gone through a season and interacted with everybody, and we had just, been to some events and feel connected again. So that was good to do that at that point.
For sure.
How did Barrett do in the interview?
She crushed it. Per usual. She's so good at talking. She's so well spoken. Oh.
Drops bars. Bars in the booth.
I'm just kicking back listening to Mia. I love these stories. I didn't know all that history.
Same. Yeah. Real Housewives is major. Does Britt know you did Real Housewives? Because she's going to have a field day talking to you about that.
It's so funny. I have so many girls come up to me like randomly and be like, yo, like, I don't know you, but like so-and-so told me you worked for Real Housewives. Like, give me the tea. Like, like, is so-and-so like actually this crazy? Like, what happened here? And I'm like, oh, I'll give you the tea.
Arc'teryx too, big project that you worked on last winter. Let's talk about that.
Yes. Yeah. So, this winter was crazy. It was crazy. So on top of making Wayward, in order to conserve budget, I didn't really pay myself. So I continued to take other projects to pay the bills. And Arc'teryx was another one that came along because of Robin. And she's doing the like athlete leader thing. She's like, what is it? Like team captain at Arc'teryx. And they wanted to look at doing a piece on Ellery Manning, who won R&D last year. And she also put my name in the ring to do this piece with Ellery. And Arc'teryx has been so awesome to work with. They kind of, they hit me up and were like, pitch us your story. And so I made them a deck and pitched it to them, and they liked it, and we got the green light. And so having a lot going on this season, and also like we didn't really get the green light to like kind of later in the season where like I couldn't be with her the whole time. So I got her like a dad cam and was like, cool, just like film all this stuff. Like I would like send her like little prompts to do like video diary stuff throughout her season. And the storyline is kind of like her preparation and her journey to natural selection as an 18-year-old freshman out of college. Like, didn't even really think that she wanted to pursue snowboarding as a career until she won R&D. And, she has the weight of the world on her and a massive expectation and pressure. And the story is just kind of like her journey. It's almost like a coming of age story of like, her journey, like living outside of the home for the first time. Like, she moved to Salt Lake from Tahoe, living by herself, first year of college, prepping for NST, like traveling more than she ever has. And just this really cool kind of feel-good story, about Ellery's journey into becoming a pro snowboarder. And it's been a super rewarding project to work on. Kind of crazy because I'm fully like directing, editing, well, partially editing. Like it's been a very hands-on project, and I think it's like the type of project that normally would be like somebody's like one thing that they do in a season. So doing that on top of all of this other stuff has been a little crazy, but it's so worth it, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity and really excited for that to come out. It's going to be called Facing Giants, and it will be coming out on Snowboarders Journal later this year.
Killer.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Damn.
How is your time management skills? I mean, doesn't it make you think, like, do you look around at other people and are just like, you think you're busy? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's
every
crazy.
time you have to level up and like discipline yourself to that next level, you're just next season, you can handle anything.
I think, yeah. I mean, I've been trying to think of it like the gym, I'm just like, I have a heavy ass load right now, but when I don't have this, like everything else is going to seem like super easy.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have when you got all kinds of jobs. Then the hard part is learn how to say no when you have all the opportunity, which is the position that you're getting yourself. It's really cool. You've worked your ass off now. I mean, obviously, you're still fighting, still grinding, but it seems like the first year labor are starting to come back.
They are. And thankfully, a lot of the projects have ended now. Like there was a point this spring that I had like 5 big projects on my plate at the same time. And I mean, pretty much all summer, it's like a 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm at the computer. It's been the summer of grind for sure. But I'm like not even that mad about it because it's all stuff that like I'm really stoked on. And I'm like, I feel like so privileged to be able to work on this stuff that it like really takes the harshness of the hours away. And yeah, I don't know. I think for sure, I think these projects are gonna like open some more doors and more opportunities for me in the future. And now it's just at the point of like, whoa, what do I want that future to look like? You know?
Yeah, you got to create a new business plan.
Yeah.
A new vision board.
We actually have a question from none other than Pat Bridges in regards to that. Here we go.
Hello, Baumol. It's Pat Bridges. I've been working with, collaborating with, and traveling with Mia for quite a while now. Definitely stoked to see this film. To that end, though, Mia, my question is, are there any other sides of snowboarding culture or the community that you might want to explore next? Like, what's over the horizon for Mia, and could we see another deep dive like this again?
Dude, so much love for Pat Bridges, man. He's like, if you insert here my aunts, Pat's my uncle. Like, I love that man. That's a good question. You know, it's funny because we're kind of at the point in the season now that like people are like asking me like, oh, what are you doing this year? Like, what are you working on this season? But I'm so deep in stuff that I'm working on right now that I'm like, I can't even tell you. Like, I can't think that far ahead, you know? But I will say like what I would want to do is, well, there's so much, an incredible amount of really insane footage that I have from this film that doesn't have anywhere to live yet, that just won't fit in the film. And so my like ultimate dream something would be to just spend my time making the footage that I already have into series so that it can all see the light of day. Like I feel like epically layered style, like, you know, I would love to keep going down the rabbit hole of these stories and this footage that I have. But beyond that, honestly, like I've never had health insurance from a job. I've never had benefits. I've been freelance like for pretty much forever. You know, even whenever I was at the MAG, I was like technically a contractor, and I'm getting older. I feel like I've like traveled all over the world. I've done so many amazing things. I'm like kind of getting to the point that I'm like, oh, something like steady in-house might be kind of nice.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Not for the benefits.
Oh, well, and just like a consistent pace. I don't know. Like being freelance is like, it's a grind and you never know where your next paycheck's going to come from. So it's hard to say no to things because you're like, well, I might go 3 months without work. Like, I don't know. And I don't know. I would like to have a family at some point, and that would be pretty difficult to do given like my current lifestyle. So I just hope something comes along and the opportunity presents itself for me to still be able to make shit that I'm really passionate about and be creative, but like maybe just like a little more stability. Would be nice.
You were exactly at that point I was at in my life when I started thinking about kids and wanted, you know, because you're an entrepreneur and as a snowboarder you are too. You're your own business, and I wanted that job and that regular paycheck, and I was super grateful for that opportunity. But I mean, like going to work for reality TV versus snowboarding, you learn stuff from it, but then you also learn that you have a lot of power as an independent, and you know you can solve for the benefits. You can talk to me,
yeah,
right? But I mean, you can build something. You know, you just have to get really clear on your vision because you can build what you want with the freedom of time,
yeah,
with the time with your kids, with. You know, you have so many skills, and like you consult or I don't know. I'm not a career coach, but I can tell you like that just getting a 9-to-5 because you want a regular paycheck. I mean, given your background and all the skills you have and all of the different backgrounds, like let's talk. You got a lot of options.
I'm glad you're here to challenge me on that.
These guys don't have regular jobs. Look at them.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe I can just turn my little homegrown production company, Tomboy Media, into like something where I can provide other creatives with opportunity, and maybe they can do like the legwork and the traveling and the crazy shit, and I can kind of just be the puppet master from behind.
Yeah.
Yep. Media juggernaut.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
That's a good freaking take. I like what you said though, like build the life you want.
Right.
What do you want your life to look like? Yeah.
Start mapping it out now, the same way you mapped out wanting to be in the snowboard industry and
My
filming.
5-year plan.
Yeah, your
5-year plan.
Go for another 5-year.
The 5-year plan. Did it go according to plan?
It did actually, weirdly specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You worked at camp.
Pretty much everything I had on there, ticked off the list, is weird.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Well, time to drop a new one. All right, we're going to get into hot takes. This is a segment of the show we do every time. We're going to start off with who is your GOAT, your favorite snowboarder, both male and female?
I'm going to give probably the most boring answer, which is the probably undisputed GOATs, which is going to be Craig and Victoria. I don't think we can find a snowboarder out there that can have a hard argument against that.
Solid.
Good answer.
Would you consider snowboarding an art form, a sport, or a lifestyle?
For me, it's a lifestyle, but I think can be any one of those three things depending on who you are and what you get out of it.
Great answer. Who's one of the most underrated snowboarders in your opinion?
Oh, I got a hot answer for this. So, guy, Joey Fava.
Whew.
I think Joey.
Shout out Cedar City.
Dude.
And I agree.
Joey should be our present day Lucas Magoon. He can do anything and everything he does. He has so much style. You never see him without a big smile on his face. He is so marketable. I'm just I just want to see that kid get more opportunity. I think he gets slept on sometimes. For ladies, I have a bit of a nuanced answer. Laura Hadar. I think there was a time that Laura had a lot of hype and a lot of support. And then when she started to shift from street riding more into backcountry, for whatever reason, the industry did not follow her on that journey. And dude, she to this day is shredding. When I went to go interview her in Aspen, dude, we went to the mountain and it was so, have you been to I forget which resort it is that's in town? I don't know.
It's Aspen Mountain.
Yeah, Aspen Mountain. We went there on a sunny day and it was icy moguls all over. And that place is steep, icy, mogul-y. I could not keep up with her. She is going 100 miles an hour, blasting huge airs off of every side hit. Just she is such a solid snowboarder. And she's one peak away from finishing all 14s in Colorado. And she's going to be the first female snowboarder to do it.
Wow.
And she is still shredding and she's still so hungry. And dude, I have to put this out there. I don't know why Travis Rice would be listening to this podcast, but if he is, you have to give Laura Hadar at least a duel. I want to see Hadar at natural selection. I at least want to see her do a duel because she has still got it and nobody knows.
I would back that. Laura's always been so good. And she was she could jump off of things to flat, which is also a good ability to have if you're riding backcountry and hitting mogul jumps.
Yeah.
But
she's just powerful.
Powerful and has an eye for terrain. Even if she's not seeking out transitions, she had a real eye and she's got style.
Yeah.
That's why we call it hot takes. Those are hot takes. Those are
flaming hot takes. Those are sometimes people come on here with ice cold takes. Those are hot takes, right? That's a definition of a hot take.
And you backed them up.
That was a clinic on how to do a hot take right there.
Take notes, future guests.
And why don't you think Travis is watching this?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure he listens to the Bomb Hole, but probably not mine.
Okay, next question. Steel or powder?
You're not going to like this answer, but I got to say powder.
God, I hate when people get that one wrong. I was going to give you the buzzer. I'm not going to do it.
You know, I
Just kidding.
I might have said steel if I had ever really learned how to ollie onto a rail.
What about the Lucas Magoon era? What would you have said back then?
Oh, I would have said steel for sure,
Okay.
but I was getting rocked. So,
Okay. All right. Who's got your favorite style ever?
I mean, ever is hard, but I will say, like, for first guy that pops into my head, I feel like Sebe de Buck has, like, I never don't enjoy watching him snowboard.
That's a hot take. I like it.
He's just got, like, tall guy, very just, like, he just makes it look so easy.
All right. Who's got your favorite method?
Griffin Siebert.
Oh, another hot take.
Wow.
These are flaming.
great.
These are flaming hot takes right now. Not standard
Wow.
issue. Not what you'd expect. Okay. What's your favorite snowboard video ever made?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard.
Please say Cold World.
Honestly, if we're counting, like, times watched, for sure, Cold World.
Damn.
Great soundtrack. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could say. I don't know. It's so hard.
I feel
Is
like
it the greatest because of the tricks or because of the cinematography?
Favorite.
Oh.
Favorite.
Yeah,
Because
favorite.
we're not arguing what's the best video ever made. I always say favorite is like, to you, what's your favorite? And I think nostalgia is a hell of a drug. So like, I always am going to pick some shit that hit me when I was 12 or whatever, just because it's,
You know, I
it hit
gotta
different.
say, like, also anything Tanner Pendleton has ever made. I'm like,
Another
he's
acceptable.
Yeah,
Tanner's my goat. You know.
Oh, we actually didn't. We asked you snowboarder goat, filmer goat.
I mean, you know, I just said Tanner, but I also have to say Mac Dog because I would be remiss.
You got to pick one. A goat isn't a double. There's one goat. So now
right,
I'm putting you on blast.
I guess I gotta say Mac Dog. Like,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. So, but second is Tanner. That's respectable. Next question. Favorite board graphic ever made?
Hard telling.
Are you looking around the room for clues?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to that. Oh, actually, you know what? I do have an answer to that. Super limited run, but Marie France Roy, when Rome came out with the Live Nude Girls board, she made them make a limited edition run of Live Nude Dudes.
That's another hot take. That is another.
Did you practice?
Yeah.
Or you just got the hot take.
I just like have controversial opinions, I think.
We like that here.
Yeah, they're not generic. They're all like pretty good takes.
Yeah.
I like those takes. All right, if you could go heliboarding with 3 people, just good times, hypothetical, you know, you're just wiggling down some pow. For example, somebody brought Mike Tyson, somebody brought Charlie Sheen. I'm just saying, give you can say whoever you want, but who you bringing in the heli? You got 3 seats.
Not just snowboarders, huh?
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to make it any harder, but I'm just giving you some parameters. You can also say your friends. You can say
whatever.
You can say Silk if you want, but.
You know, all right, I'm going to say Victoria, Alexa McCarty, Trevor Brady.
Damn. Banger heli.
That's good.
That's amazing. Have you ever been heliboarding?
Dude, no. That's like the one thing that like I've always wanted to do. Never been in a heli, you know. Well, I've been in a heli, but not with a snowboard.
Yeah, put that on the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. So.
I almost got to go this year, but the snow was too shitty. My dreams were shattered.
Okay, dream sponsor. Any sponsor in the world. It doesn't have to be snowboard related.
Amex.
Another hot take.
We take that.
Another hot take.
That's good.
It's well thought out. Just swipe the card.
Dude, you could get it's like wishing for more wishes. Like
It's like when you had the Vice card. Kinda.
yeah, exactly.
Here I am as Home Depot thinking I'm smart. Amex, you can go to Home Depot, you can go anywhere you want. You can buy a plane ticket, it kind of solves all the problems. Code. Amex. Wow. They don't take Amex everywhere though.
I know. I was just thinking that. Why not Visa?
You know, they got the Delta points though. I'm trying to double up.
Okay. Yep, that's smart. Okay, last question. Worst trend. What do you got?
Dope snow.
Nice.
Drop ship snowboard companies.
That's another hot take. That is that was one of the most elite hot takes we've ever had. I'm not kidding you, Mia. Like most of the answers are generic and just like people scratching their head. Like those were flaming hot takes. All right, we normally do setups for boards, but I feel like we can do that, but we should also do camera setups.
Yeah, my favorite camera ever is Sony FX6. Pop a little wide angle on there, like a little 16 mil and a little top handle, and yeah, ready to go. But I'm a big Sony girl. Like I've never been into the Reds. They just have always seemed, I mean, they're so expensive, but they always just seemed like so cumbersome and hard to work with, especially in a fast-paced environment like snowboarding. And kind of sucks I never got into the Reds because you can pretty much double your rate to any client if you have Red in your description. But yeah, I'm a Sony girl for life.
That's smart though. You upload one Red file and you're one clip, your computer catches on fire.
Yeah.
It's 75 million gigs. All right, we got one last guest question, and this one is from your husband, Trevor Brady. Here we go.
Was good, B-Hole crew. Mia, Barrett, Diesel, 3 of you are legends. I cannot wait to listen to the show, first of all. Skeeter, this question's for you. Wayward started out as a dream of yours, and you've been able to bring that dream to reality through dedication and hard work. What advice do you have for someone out there who has a dream and doesn't know where to start or is hesitant to drop in? Love y'all.
That's such a good question.
He's so handsome and cute.
He really
I can see it in your eyes.
He really is. I love him so much. Oh, man, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, making this film and doing everything that I'm doing right now, is straight up a dream come true. And more than half of my life of working towards this. And so I think if you have a dream, whether that's to be a pro snowboarder or a filmer, photographer, literally anything, whatever it is, I think the biggest thing I've learned is just you gotta have patience. Good shit takes time. You have to be okay failing, and you have to be okay embarrassing yourself, and you have to be okay sucking at something for a while. I think a lot of people give up on their dreams in round 1 because they aren't immediately good at it. And I was never naturally talented at filming. And there's people who are. And I've never been the best filmer, the best editor, the best anything. But if you can grind and you're willing to just work hard, you will get better, but you just have to be willing to suck for a while. And I would say that's the biggest thing. If you try your hardest at anything, after some period of time, you're gonna get good at it. I don't know, just embrace the suck.
Wise words, Mia. Those are wise words. It's true. Well said. God damn, Mia, this has been a hell of a show.
This has been great.
Oh, I'm so glad I learned so much about Mia here.
Did you have fun, Barrett?
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Silk, did you have fun?
Absolutely, yeah. Learned a bunch too.
Silk, what's your favorite part of the show?
Embrace the suck. Good words.
I like learning about Real Housewives.
Yeah, actually, that was my favorite part. Yeah, I'll take that back,
yeah.
Actually, I'm going to take it back.
Yeah.
Mia's hot takes as my final answer.
Yeah, that segment was
fire. Yeah, that was fire. Did you have fun, Mia?
I had so much fun. I could do this every day. This is great.
It's not bad.
Yeah. No, it's not. Once you get the engine warmed up, this is great.
Yeah, we're just chugging.
It's like the podcast is like a train engine. It takes a little while to get going. Once you get going, it gets going pretty good. You know.
Oh yeah.
All right, Mia. Well, it's been a hell of a show. Before we wrap this thing up, do you want to throw any thank yous out?
Oh my God, so many thank yous. Like Barrett, Cersei, of course. Like you guys, the fact that you guys believe in me makes me believe in me in the moments that my confidence is wavering. So I can't thank you enough for that. And, Colleen Conroy, my great friend, who actually was the one who initially was like, you need to make this and not just have it an idea. Obviously Trevor, Trevor has been my rock, my support, my financial sponsor, and just, everybody who has supported me throughout the years in this journey. And, again, shout out to our sponsors for Wayward, because I cannot give enough gratitude to them. Yeti, Burton, Sunbum, and Woodward, just an elite group of people who really, really care about women in snowboarding.
Amazing. And there may be a potential world premiere date for the film?
Yeah. So I just locked it in. I think it's going to be December 14th at Woodward Park City is going to be our world premiere. We're going to try and get a lot, if not all, of the ladies who are in the film to come out, do like a ride day, meet and greet with people before we show the film, and have it just be like a whole big fun day.
Amazing.
It's going to be awesome.
And a reminder, we're going to have a raffle at bombhole.com. If you want to support the project, buy a raffle ticket. You got a chance to win some cool stuff. Also, if you want to do a sizable donation or looking for a tax write-off, where's that?
You can go to tomboy-media.com/wayward to give us a tax-deductible donation.
And you can find all the links in the description as well.
Thank you for doing that, Silk.
Yep.
Thank you.
Easy.
Wayward. I can't wait to see this thing. The teaser looks amazing. I can't wait to see all this hard work you've been putting in. It's going to be really fun to watch that film.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, thank you guys. I mean, what you guys are doing for snowboarding too is just so sick, and you really filled a void that I think we needed.
Thank you, Mia. I appreciate it. All right, who's going to take us out of the show, Silk?
I think Mia's got to do it for sure.
All right, Mia. Now, since you're in show business, you got to do a nice, big, fancy sign off. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, just
thanks to all the sponsors. Thanks to
say whatever,
and then just kind of who had a good sign off earlier? Is Katie. When she said,
how'd it go?
Thank you for your time, I believe, or something like that.
I think she did say that. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Well, the question mark at the end, pretty much, I think is how she read it.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Take notes from Katie.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't really know what to say, but thank you to all the sponsors, everybody else who supports Chris in the show, and we love you. Thank you. Goodbye.
There it is. Nice. You're professional. Super professional. See, the music kicked in as soon as you said